Hello, everyone, and welcome to SHITE EP03. Was 2019 shit or not? And joining us once again is my partner in crime, Matty Edwards. Hello, Matty.
Hello, mate. And should I just say yes and wrap this up early? Because I know someone's got it here today to catch. But, I mean, hopefully, after watching this and some of the things you're going to throw at us, Andy, hopefully we can have some sort of debate and not just go, yeah, it was shit, yeah, it was shit, yeah, it was shit. Hopefully, the podcast will expand as we go along here. But good to be back, mate, and good to see you. And especially, no offence, the special guest we've got with us today.
Yeah. And the reason we're sort of doing this show is because you two mentioned in the past your worst years in wrestling. And we brought our guest on here, Mr. Michael Hamflett of What Culture, to discuss his worst year in wrestling, 2019, Michael.
Yeah, it's funny, right? So I probably haven't watched this show since 2019, probably when it aired. And then watching it back for this podcast reminded me why. But I was very privileged. We were about 2 years into doing the What Culture Wrestling podcast. I'd been at What Culture about 2 years by the time this show aired, nearly 3 actually. So as privileged and as dream job as it gets, and yet I remember feeling like WWE was so awful. I was thinking, right, how are we going to talk about what just happened on that 3-hour show? Like every Tuesday morning was like, how on earth can you analyze it? How can you talk about what's happened this week and pretend like it's going to feed into next week? How is it going to feed into the week after? Like all my memories of main roster WWE are kind of that really. I found it quite interesting here to go back and even try and recall any context or any sort of character development or any ups and downs of the characters going on. And then you would not jumping ahead or anything. You listen to bits of commentary and listen to snatches and the way that they were saying things as if they were coherent storylines. I remember that. I remember this idea that you were basically supposed to pretend that these wrestlers were in coherent storylines when increasingly week on week on week, none of it made any sense anymore. I can't wait to go through some of this stuff. I'm so excited to go through it all. I'm excited to hear some other stuff from 2019. But I just remember that feeling of this is a 52-week-a-year show where you could basically have 52 entirely different episodes of Raw, and one wouldn't be connected to the next. It's like no other wrestling product ever in that regard. Ever. There are people that would call 2026 Fed slop simply because some of the storylines are not as engaging as they used to be, or some of the stars are not as over as they used to be. It does not compare. They are different planets, let alone different promotions.
So this is almost like therapy for you. Hopefully.
It sounds like it already, doesn't it? I feel like I already owe you a tenner. Just for getting some of this out.
Shall we start anyway? But Matty, just what were your pre-thoughts of thinking about 2019?
I mean, obviously similar to Michael, a lot where you're watching these years go by and you're that just entrenched is the word, buried maybe, just literally getting fed it, and you don't obviously Michael realised it quicker and more than I did there, that I didn't realise it until maybe even the Thunderdome here, and Michael, I was a bit later on, thinking,
right,
you know what I mean, maybe in denial, I'm not gonna lie, maybe in denial, but you're just that loyal, aren't you? You're just that blinded, you just but I'd always find something, though, Michael, to cling on to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, you'd always find bits and bobs. And SmackDown was I remember it being really bad. Raw, obviously not great, but it was you'd always cling on. Even we'll get into the Fiend, and we'll go a lot back and forth on that. But even that, maybe because I was so engrossed or so ingrained in it, that I was clinging on to that in a way. But then your head of watching wrestling goes, well, this couldn't last. This character can't last that long, and you back themselves into a corner. And it jumped to mind there, Michael, where you're saying about you had nothing to talk about. I bet you were made up in a way, though, when that Hell in the Cell happened, because at least you could bury it, or at least you could actually, you know what I mean, talk about something other than just ticking boxes,
I know what you mean. It's funny, right? I've got mixed feelings about that entire period. I know, certainly my esteemed colleague Michael Sidgwick would dream of days like this to come back again, where there was just heap as much shit as possible on like the Fed's grave, effectively, like this kind of like the deranged Vince McMahon era. But like I've not got really, like, I'm not much of a ranter, I'm not much of a burial content. Stuff comes out of you from time to time, but it's not really my sort of style or how like I choose to engage with wrestling. I'd rather like wrestling than hate it, and there's nothing wrong with the people that just enjoy the other side of it. I just would rather like enjoy, because I'm just, you know, with the same, like it's a habit that I'm stuck with, so I'd rather enjoy it than not. But like I think you can draw a pretty thick red line, and it's the moment in 2017 that Jinder wins the belt. It's like you're detached from reality, Vince McMahon. You're like, this is it, like whether it's because of your age or because of your group or whatever. So we're 2 years in my opinion, to the complete like brainworms era of Vince McMahon, and there's still 3 more years to go. Do you know, I think there's like a very clear like 5-year window if you go from like Jinder's title reign to the first time Vince like resigns in disgrace. That's 5 years, which has a pandemic in the middle of it. Yeah, like it is astonishing, really, that there's a WWE that we can speak of in 2026 that remains in one piece for just the damage that was done over that fight. And this is slap bang in the middle of it. I think that's why because the pandemic, like you mentioned the Thunderdome there, it becomes one giant 18-month excuse, really, doesn't it? The pandemic, because of there being no crowds. Whereas this, there is no excuse. There is no reason why there's like they drop the ball every single week, while like even when a wrestler tries to pick it up, it's almost like they rip it out of the wrestler's hand and throw it on the floor, even when they're not trying to drop it. It's just, this is, you can isolate this period. And I've got some like thoughts from a show just after this, like in a different way, which I'll get to in the review. I was sort of inadvertently quite entrenched in WWE at this particular point, but like, there's no doubt that this is like slap bang in the middle of as bad as it would ever. I'd like to think, touch wood, as bad as it will ever get. Like, I'll sit through frigging 20 Clash in Parises, like with boring, cowardly booking over shows like this, like any day of the week, twice on Sunday.
Yeah, well, I was waiting to get to finish there, Michael, and you were saying there that it doesn't come out of you much, like the rants and stuff. But you've just got to stop watching Collision, then, mate. You know what I mean? Just simple as that, really.
Matty, man, Collision doesn't work. Collision's a paradox if I stop watching, because one viewer can't collide with itself. Like, there needs to be two. Like,
there we go.
Right, shall we get into the happenings in 2019? So we're starting off with January 2019, where Pete Dunne defeated Joe Coffey in 34 minutes and 19 seconds at NXT UK TakeOver. And after the match, Walter made his debut. What I wanted to ask you both, were you ever into NXT UK, our brand, Michael?
Andy, I think I'm going to have to look at Matty's screen in this video call rather than, because I respect you so much. I'm just going to look down. British wrestling should be illegal, mate.
You know what?
Nobody that speaks with our voices should have ever been allowed to hold a microphone with the letters WWE on them in front of their mouths, right? I will give Davey Boy Smith a pass for a bit, and then he can fuck off, right? I remain resentful to this day that Benson Richards never got his shot. And that's all of them. Like, it is NXT UK, obviously, you know, I'm being a little bit facetious, but NXT UK felt like a monument to everything that I hate about British wrestling, like just the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst of. I never bought into the progress of it all when that was booming. I never particularly had a fondness for any like individual British wrestling company. I used to go watch social club stuff in the northeast in like the doldrum years, you know, the like 2000
MEW or long.
Yeah, the one I went to was the IWF out a lot, like, and they were at Long. But it was where Pac came up in. So I was blessed to see him at least on the come up. But like, yeah, like that kind of stuff, proper like family show stuff that I've got a bit of time for. But what I like about family shows is that for the most part, there isn't even really an attempt to pretend to be legitimate. It's just most people trying to tell quite basic stories and have a good night and give people value for money. I find anything that aspires to be proper wrestling coming out of this shithole country to be disgusting. And NXT UK is like a monument to that. Get it off, get it in the bin. And the only saving grace I remember from that show was it just completely exposed like Joe Coffey for the complete fraud he is. Like Shawn Michaels and Triple H didn't see it apparently because Gallus got pushed for about 4 more years. But like, oh, dire, absolutely. And people watched that show and lied. They fucking lied to you that it was good, that it was valuable, that it was valid, the whole lot. I saw Pete Dunne and Walter have a banger takeover in New York. I was there with my wife at Barclays Center for like what was one of NXT's like last amazing nights. And it was like, right, okay, like let's lift Gunther and Walter then out of this completely. Let's just put him on the proper show because he's clearly legit. And like, ideally, let's get Pete Dunne under a mask or turn him into a dog and see if we can get something out of him. Like, Michael, will never be for me.
The streets will never forget that Butch run, mate. That was his best run. I'll always say that, lad. Loved him as Butch.
Dog, fake luchador himself. That's the Pete Dunne fed podium. Like,
love it.
Actually, no, Dog. Booker, apparently, because he agented the El Grande Americano Derby, fake luchador. Pete Dunne Bruiserweight, it doesn't even get a bronze. Like,
oh, mate, like Andy, I can't add much more to that because he's basically said everything that I wanted to say. Like, I've been the same. No, honestly, like, and listen, you know, I'm like you. We've all been there at like when you're on holiday in Wales, Andy, as you know, and you're going to those as like camp shows, aren't they? Really, essentially, and that's right. They're not trying to be something that they're not. They're there for the family entertainment. You get into it, it's a bit of a laugh. But I'm like Michael. I've never been, but I don't know what it is. Are we so just ingrained in WWE in America? Like, genuinely, I've never bought it. I used to go obviously when I did watch the indies and such. But that was just more to get out with the lads and have a bevy and stuff like that, really. And the show's always got on the way. We'd be in the pub going, the show's on in 10 minutes. I wish we would just stay here all night and have a bevy. And we'd have to go. But no, genuinely, we'd all have that same shout every 10 minutes before. But the way it is, mate, isn't it? Never been for me. And like Michael said, Andy, genuinely, even though we're fucking shitting on it, you are like the absolute messiah when it comes. Like, genuinely, I'm not blowing smoke either. The longevity, everything about it, mate. Hats off to you, genuinely.
Proper, you're home and away, man. That's the proper stuff. Like
that is
lifeblood.
I was in that time when doing 130 shows a year. I'm only on about 15 this year, so
that's like 2 a week, Andy. That's more.
Yeah, that was
2.5 a week.
You could do one every night when there was like Lucha Forever and fucking God knows what. Yeah. Literally, you could do a seven day run. I was booked on more shows than wrestlers.
I was going to say on camera more as well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But I was here for this match, 34 minutes, and it felt like it. But
68.
The pop Walter got though that night, fucking excellent because you know, obviously big star from Progress and WXW. I don't know if this was the one where it was Jordan Devlin versus Tyler Bate, and they had the three wise monkeys up at the top, Big Nose, Johnny Saint, and Regal, all like fucking Roman emperors going like that. What was
it OTT? They were doing those like cinematic trailers for the big Jordan Devlin matches at the time, weren't they? And they were like, I remember they were getting sort of shared far and wide as this like, I know like it's OTT, but you know, like Britain and Ireland scene is now kind of like gone beyond like the American indies in terms of what they could produce for video packages and stuff like that. I remember that I didn't make me want to watch the matches, but I couldn't not admire the production values of the builds and that, you know.
And he transcended them because like people were travelling to Dublin and I didn't myself. I know many people who did, and I was going to WXW in Germany for like a good 2-3 year spell. So it was still, it would say, because of NXT UK coming in, it was the back end of like the boom period. That's what obviously the Feder in town were taking all your wrestlers and what have you. But one of my memories with NXT UK was sitting through a 14-match taping at the York Barbican Centre. I was fucking wishing my life away, and that I think I was stopping in the hotel as well, which maybe was the first COVID case in the UK as well.
Wow. Good
It
trivia.
wasn't me, super spreader. I know there's rumours I spread it in Germany, the Cheltenham Festival, and York. So,
mate, it's one of your claps. All the deluge of your skin just went everywhere and spread all over the people.
It weren't a fucking bat in Wuhan, were it?
So we've got Pete Dunne in a mask and Andy Ogden in a mask. That's like but that's just to stop the spread of COVID.
It is, yeah. So away from NXT UK, also in January we had Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins winning the Rumble. What a fucking terrible year that were, and maybe as well the last time New Japan was relevant in 2019 as Tanahashi beat Omega in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom.
I gotta say, for me, like, you get one more year out in Nuge because that John Moxley G1 run in 2019 was absolutely unbelievable. I remember like a lot of happy memories about that. Before I got bored of him thinking he was shoot hard, but like
is that the biggest
Becky,
member? Sorry, Michael, is that the most famous and biggest member of the Shield you're talking about, John Moxley?
I'd be very interested to debate that as a dilemma with you one upon a time, Matty. Yeah. I mean, he didn't need half of his career to be completely carried by an organisation to get over it. It's another podcast, another time. Yeah. Becky Lynch, I love that run. I went, WrestleMania 35 was my first WrestleMania, and it was definitely powered by like wanting to see the man prevail. I went with my wife. We made a trip out of it to New York. That's how I went to the takeover in the New Japan show at Madison Square Garden. But even that Rumble, like, do you remember how much they botched that? Like, she had to get in by taking advantage of Lana getting injured. So they didn't even let her be like she had to beg Fit Finlay of all people to like wave her in. And it was like, you can't do anything. Like, you can't get, and even when you're booking it correctly, and we're not in like a Daniel Bryan situation where the fans are turning on the show, you still can't book it. You still can't like get the basics right or anything.
Was she in the title match at the Rumble, wasn't she? That's the way out of it.
She lost to Asuka on the undercard, and people thought it was going to be a repeat of 2014 with Bryan, where she just never even. That was the anxiety that people felt, that like she's just not going to. Because that was what they traded on, wasn't it? You know what we need is the fans to be stressed and miserable.
Yeah, purely though, like genuinely. Jesus Christ.
So in February 2019, Bayley and Sasha Banks, your favourite, Old Monet, Matty, won the first ever women's tag team belts in an elimination chamber match 7 years ago. These titles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've had a bit of a they did have a bit of a renaissance, maybe, Michael, end of last year and beginning of this year, the women's tag. But yeah, when you're putting two, I suppose that division's based on putting two single stars together, isn't it? Really, when you think about it, always has been. But 7 years. Like, you're hitting me with these things that I haven't thought about in years. Obviously, when we get to the show as well, we'll talk about them that I haven't thought about. But bloody hell, yeah, an elimination chamber fit as well, yeah, bloody hell.
Mm-hmm. Just ropey, just never it's one thing to have them, but it's quite another to actually book them. And I don't think they've ever been that arsed about the actual stories around the belts of it. It's just matches, set up a new team, give them a match, and repeat.
Break up and then feud, standard, yeah.
So in March / late March, early April, a bit of podcast news here was a British Wrestling Spotlight became GRAPPL.
Oh, there you go. That's a nice little tidbit there, and
and I started a podcast in March 2019 when I was stuck in an airport with Chris Wilson and Jeff for 23 hours.
I mean, that's rough. 23 hours.
Yeah. Lost in
Andy?
It's still on there somewhere on Spotify.
What felt longer, that stopover in the airport or Pete Dunne versus Joe Coffey?
Oh, Pete Dunne versus Joe Coffey, mate. But yeah, 7 years ago. And I was doing a blog for about 2 years, and then on Tumblr. Remember Tumblr?
Oof, never done that, but I remember it though. Yeah.
And I was going to do like a blog that weekend on 16 karat gold, but because we got stuck, it saved me writing it, and we just fucking got the phone out and did a podcast for 4.5 hours.
There you go.
Amazing.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. So, April 2019, Walter beat Pete Dunne for the UK title.
Wasn't that a long one as well, or was it? Who am I thinking?
It was. That was at the. I was at that takeover. That's. I think you could make a strong case that's the best WWE card ever. Genuinely, like it's like if there's no fat, there's no filler. It's like it. I mean, you've got something like Matt Riddle versus the Velveteen Dream, which obviously, it's like it's
at the time,
a lot. It was incredible. It's like a double over delivery, really, but it doesn't age well at all because of the wrestlers involved. But it's like it's probably the Pete. I'd like Walter and Pete Dunne was fantastic. Pete Dunne's reign had been whatever it was, like 600 ages, and then the main event was Cole and Gargano, the first one, because Ciampa had gotten injured on that random call up that Triple H was forced to bring him up on. Remember that? Like they were rivals on NXT. It was like come up and be a tag team, and then Ciampa broke his neck, and it was like great. But Cole and Gargano was it was amazing. It was he still had Triple H still had that last little bit of spice left as like an NXT booker, and like you hadn't seen every single one of those match formulas with all the multiple kickouts and all that, so it still had a bit of juice left. Again, I'm not sure how all of it ages now, but in the building, there's very few atmospheres I've experienced quite like that.
That's one thing looking back now, I'd love to have been in one of them, Michael, where it was hot. Because as you say, people might change the opinion. And this isn't a go at AEW, but everything changes. This isn't having a go at AEW fans, of course, but if you're used to seeing these matches on a fucking monthly basis that are incredible and some of the best of all time, then it's going to shit on stuff like that, which at the time were probably seen as that and heated and such like that. So it is a bit of a difference, isn't it? Which is a shame, but I think you should never ever just judge it by that. These I know, I like that Bobby Roode versus Drew McIntyre match, but what a lot of people aren't gonna like. But it's different work, isn't it? You know what I mean? It can't all be full throttle all the time. So that's the debate in itself. But yeah, love it.
And it's also at a time where NXT still the sort of like show that you think, oh, this is way better than the main roster because the main roster is shit, and this is the pay-per-view that you'd always look forward to. And I know you've reviewed recently, Matty, a takeover in like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, the Triple H formula, and
purely 5 matches, genuinely, and they are. And this, as I say on the podcast there, which we done, I come into it a year later, like 2018, and then Michael's talking about 2019. So it still had, even though like people are saying this is the peak with the Brooklyn Takeover 3 in 17, it still had, like Michael said, a couple more years where the juice was there, definitely. Even hotter,
actually,
to the day.
I was going to say, it's funny, right? Because I was listening to that podcast. It's a great review. I consider that a bit of a valley for NXT because my favourite NXT is 2014, 2015. Pretty much like saved my Fed fandom because the main roster was so terrible. NXT was like this release. And then it got a bit like Triple H and Regal are starting to just sign all the PWG Ring of Honor guys. And it got quite heavy on that one. And then it kind of came back up again. Like I would say like 28, got to say it doesn't, none of it ages well at all, but like the Ciampa and Gargano story and like a lot of the stuff that came from that era sort of brought, like the buildings were still hot. And then AEW almost overnight really sort of said, well, we can do that, but it's not under the WWE umbrella. So you could almost see everybody in that building just go to like AEW instead. It's exactly that profile of crowd that they took. And a lot of those people thought, well, I have no reason to watch WWE ever again. This was the only bit of it I wanted. And now I'm getting a better and more authentic version of it over there. So why would I need to stick around with WWE anymore? That was the first crowd they took, really. It made that NXT redundant pretty much the second it launched.
So Mania that year, which Michael was at, I think this was like 7 hours long.
The longest ever one, isn't it?
Yeah, the longest ever.
Yeah.
So Kofi Kingston beat Daniel Bryan, Kofi Mania. Triple H beat Batista.
Maybe not so.
Baron Corbin
is
retired.
that the nose ring, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the
Baron Corbin retired Kurt Angle, and Becky Lynch beat Ronda and Lottie in the main event.
Go back, Andy. Say that one before the main event again, so everyone can hear if no one knows about this.
Oh, Bazza Corbin retiring Kurt Angle in about 6 minutes.
It's bizarre. At the time, though, even me was like, who didn't mind Corbin as that shithouse heel on telly? But Kurt Angle talking about here, I'll always defend Kurt more than most people because I don't like it. We've had it, Andy, haven't we? This theory that Kurt Angle was shit or he wasn't as good as he was. He was one of the best of all time. It does my head in that. Do you know what I mean? But and then he's jobbing out to like Corbin and his retire. It's just like, fuck, he deserves so much better. Even if he couldn't go as much as he could, you get someone in there who like an AJ or something, don't you? That'll like get that one last good match out of him, what he deserved. But awful.
I was in the building, Michael, like a 7-hour show. I couldn't imagine.
Right, so like it was my first ever WrestleMania. Yeah. So like I think I know it was yours 30, Andy. Am I right there? Is that your?
Yeah.
I know yours was Vegas, wasn't it, Matty? 41. Like I don't know if this is a shared experience with all three. I never wanted the night to end. Like I was just like, this could be the only time I ever go to one of these. This is like I'm loving. There's always something to look at because it's so vast. That's like now I've been very lucky to cover quite a few, and I would think differently about being in that building for 7 hours. But my first one, thank God it was my first. Oh, that's all I'll say. It's my wife I think about. I think she just took it as, oh, well, this is what you do. You come here and you spend an entire work day at a frigging wrestling show. She didn't complain once. I don't know how she got through it. The view was good, with the exception of AJ Styles and Randy Orton, because the lights blinded our section. I got some free tickets out of it. Like, if you remember that story, because the lights was, you couldn't see. Like, I was grateful because it meant I couldn't see the Randy Orton match, but nonetheless, I got the free tickets. It was just, there were so many.
Michael, my tongue's going to be dead sore about the end of this podcast. You know?
Michael, you probably saw a silhouette of a chin lock from Randy.
So my recollection of it is probably unfair, right? But some of the What Culture boys were, they were over there for the coverage, and our I think I can say this now. I think I'm speaking. Our bosses were not the most generous when it came to buying tickets, and everything's a cost, and everything costs money, and that, and we never take that for granted. It's not like we're not brothered in by the Fed, and we never were, and we never will be. It's always buying the tickets, and it comes off your trip budget and all of that. So our bosses, the lads that were covering it, were bought tickets behind that giant Titantron screen, right? And I think it was a couple of lads were just saying, like, it's getting pretty freezing cold up here, and this is long, and we've got to get back and do some coverage and all that sort of stuff. And then they're just waiting. It's either for the main event or the penultimate match to start. And then R-Truth and Carmella's music hits and there's a dance break, and they're just they are cursing me, I'm up there, I'm giving it the sprinkler, but they're cursing their lives. You're into Becky Lynch is hitting the ring and it's 1 o'clock the next morning. It's just aye. We got stranded. I've told this story on another podcast before. We got out the building and couldn't get. We had a hotel in New Jersey because we'd done Sopranos stuff that day, before going to MetLife, which is in Jersey, and we couldn't get back. You couldn't, all trains, buses, and transport. It was pissing down a rain. Everyone's phone batteries had gone dead because you'd spent a work day in a stadium. And very fortunately, we heard some Americans speaking about how they knew where to walk on the freeway, but without getting run over. So we followed. There was no paths. It's America, innit? They just you could put Google Maps on and then you're walking. And why am I on a dual carriageway? They just don't give a shit. Yeah. So we just had to follow these very kind Americans who steered us back into a relatively safe bit where we could get an Uber from, because it was thousands of people in one Uber queue, and there was all a boot off with the New York Council the next day about remember nobody wanted to take the blame. It was the Fed versus the city of New York for who switched the fucking trains off at 12 o'clock because WWE didn't tell them, oh yeah, we're going to go until about 2 a.m. And everyone was just, it was like frigging the first episode of Lost when the planes crashed on the beach, just like that, but it's everybody in Becky Lynch t-shirts, wondering how the hell they're going to get home.
I've got a vision of you now, Robbie Williams in the No Regrets video, just walking down the with a petrol can.
It's a petrol can, but it just says Kofi Mania on it. It's just
yeah. Oh Christ! So the Shield have their final match as a trio at this time before Dean Ambrose leaves to join AEW as Jon Moxley.
Listen, they had multiple reunions, didn't they, Michael? Which, like, I think Roman got injured early in one of them, 2017, and that's where Kurt come in, and then they done this at the end to get back with Mox and stuff. After that, disastrous fucking heel turn by Mox, like one of the worst ever, or one of the worst of all time. Though, legitimately is one of the worst. So, listen, you could even watching the tapes back, even at the time, you knew his heart really wasn't into it. It's probably the only thing that he would have done that you knew even a tiny smudge he'd be into, but all over his face you can see he's not bothered, is he? He just wants out.
Nah. It's like, I remember we were at the Raw after WrestleMania, and I think every show around that time was like, goodbye the Shield and all that. It was an easy pop, wasn't it, in the building?
Yeah, easy.
And to be absolutely fair to Roman, he was kind of just like fairly standoffish, but Seth had the belt and he was doing the thanks for coming out and stuff, and he was like, guys, I did everything I could to get Dean to stay, but he won't stay. And it's like, grow up, Seth. Like, this is a man who just wants to like live his life. Stop being such a baby. Like, it wasn't even like you were rooting for them to keep at it. I was just like, it's okay, just go. Like, you're right. It's like there was.
You're right, Michael. Sorry to jump in. You're right there. That's like where people like me and you will, because we love WWE. I think people tar us with loving Seth, and like we'll defend him to a degree. But I think we're the same of like, you're right there. Roman will just step back, and that's why I love him as well. He's never been Mr. WWE, as he's never been the face in that way where they like start bumming up and all that. Whereas Seth's like that trying to pander to the fans, and that's why people turned on him, and that's why to this day there's just no need for it. I'm the Mr. Company guy. No need at all. Like, I'll never defend him in that regard, ever.
No.
So in May 2019, talking about John Moxley, he turns up on AEW's first pay-per-view of Double or Nothing, featuring such stars as Bret Hart, Jack Whitehall, and one of the matches on there, Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, the streets have told me that he's a bigger star than Roman Reigns, Matty.
I mean, are those pandemic streets of zombies there where people can't talk? Because I don't know what streets you're walking down, Andy. And also there as well, like, so Bret Hart, Jack Whitehall, I mean, wild, innit, when you think about it, where it's
Glacier were on this, weren't he?
Who, Glacier?
Yeah.
He was on there, Ray Lloyd. He wasn't in Cody's, like entourage, the DDP and such, wasn't it? Yeah. For that match. Or maybe that's the All-In with Aldous I'm thinking of, but... yeah, them streets, Andy, you want to stay clear of them, mates. They're telling you lies, mate. They're telling you, they're propaganda filled. I can't let this go, Michael. I can't. I feel like I'm recording now.
I think the Roman Reigns streets are those Universal Studios ones where the buildings are all just made of cardboard and they just fall over in the wind. Like,
this it's been Michael, I've seen this slow turn on Roman unfold every week when I watch you that. And you've had enough now.
You're talking about these streets, aren't you, Matty? I think I get it. Like, Roman Reigns build houses, Cody Rhodes filled houses. That's all right. Everyone's got different jobs. Like,
people keep mentioning these Raw numbers and these fucking Raw ratings and house show numbers and fucking buildings. They don't mention SmackDown with Mr. Cody's there. Do you know what I mean? And
we have a bit of fun with this. Like, I loved Roman Reigns before he became a total fraud. Like, I absolutely loved him. Like, I will defend you to the hilt about your opinion of Roman Reigns 2020 to 2023 inclusive. Like, it is spot on right there.
But listen, Cody, though, as I say, maybe it's the reason I don't like us saying about Seth there. And I think I said this on one of our GRAPPL podcasts. I'll always appreciate the way, a different way to Seth, that like, but you know he's just a schmarm. You know he's an absolute schmouser, Cody, don't you? He's all business. And he took it on, like I said. Greats like Eddie Guerrero couldn't handle the pressure, Michael. He couldn't have been the WWE champion. I admire him all day long for wanting to be the face. And listen, I've never seen anything like it when I was at WWE World. There was 6 of them around the building. 1 minute he'd holding babies. He's over there with like the Make-A-Wish. He's over there with crowds of people. Everything you can think of. Never take that away from him. But he's just got that. He's working us all, though. We're all getting worked by him. Michael, you know that. Come on, you know.
Oh God, yeah, but they're all workers. They're all complete liars.
They are. Yeah.
Like, they're all like. Do you know what this Double or Nothing match with me and Sidgwick covered it on Best Match Ever it's on the podcast channel in the archives and stuff. And I remember watching it at the time, and I'm not really a big Blood guy, and I remember thinking, I think Blood's carried this one a little bit. I'm not sure that I'm as convinced by the story. And then, you know, when you sort of do a deep dive and you give it a bit of time and you watch it back quite forensically when you're going beat by beat through a match. Like, I was never happier to be wrong. That match is like, that's a proper, I really recommend, if you haven't in a while, to go back and watch it. It's such a masterpiece, and it's such a, like, it's a wonderfully worked match by a guy in Cody Rhodes, who I think is is the most important wrestler of this decade. Like, I don't think that's up for argument, by the way. The most important and significant wrestler of this decade, if you consider what he started in one company and then what he finished in the other. Yeah. Like, no sort of, Roman Reigns can have the 2010s if you want. You know, it's like, I think that's a reasonable thing. But like, for me, there's no debate, right? Against a guy in Goldust, Dustin Rhodes, who, like, people love him, but his best years are behind him. I think people talk up some of his stuff. Like, he does one, like, sort of sunset flip, and people are like, whoa, Dustin can still go. And it's like, oh, come on, like, don't take the piss. But that night, it's the magic. It's the proper, you're completely entrenched in the story of it. And for all you know, you're watching, like, you can't believe that you're watching the natural Dustin Rhodes from his best years versus Cody in his own prime, as if they've grown up the same age under Dusty's wing. And like, what a statement of intent about what All Elite Wrestling could be as an alternative. If you want a match that's simply like the WWE in 2019, whatever its best day is, I don't even know what the day is in 2019, hasn't got a fucking chance of making a match like Cody versus Dustin. And like, surely that's what AEW's job had to be, was to be like, let us show you why we can be everything they're not and why we're worth a look. It's like, it's a perfect match. Like, I proper, like, there's so much more to it than I ever gave it credit for in the moment. Probably because I was angry that it existed. Probably because I was just like, the fuck do these people think they are? Like, can't we all just get in line, follow the rules, and watch the Fed like good little boys and girls? Like, that was all. Like, I was thinking about AEW. I was like, whatever. But it's not. It's like, it's the proper shit. Cody versus Dustin. Like, it's a good show, Double or Nothing. But that's the monument of its success.
See, I think, like, I'll never turn me back on Cody for stuff like that. Like you're saying, once he drops all the bullshit and he gets involved with the wrestling story or the wrestling angle like that, he's great. I love the older stuff. I love the All In, and I love the return at NWA. Even love that. He got
that belt. That belt over. Nobody gave a shit about the belt before. Nobody gave a shit after. But it's wrestling. You can work anything to mean something, can't you? You know?
Of course. And even in AEW, but then he shot himself in the foot straight away, trying to be that big man and not getting the world title shot or never get. So he shoots himself in the foot, and obviously, you know, in the Fed he's been all right, Michael. I'll agree with you on that. But it's one of them for me. It's like, I was thinking this the other day. I was thinking, Roman Reigns has got, like, for me, like, is Cody cool? He's not, is he? Like, he's not. He's the most uncool fella in the world. Roman Reigns, look at him. He's cool. Like, the guys like him, the girls like him, the kids like Cody, Michael. I was thinking this. And he's the biggest merchant for house shows. That's where they get cheered now. The kids will all like him. Get him in front of, like, a smart mark crowd now or anything. They don't like him anymore. He's done. Yeah. He's washed. He's done. He genuinely is. And that's not me just saying it. He's done. I thought you were any heel, and he's fucking getting... You know, any heels getting cheered over him?
Yeah, but when are you going to say something positive about Roman? Like, get the kids. I used to say this, like, we might disagree on John Cena. It used to piss me off when people were like, yeah, the women and the kids like John Cena, but what about the blokes? Have you seen how much fucking wrestling there is for the blokes? Look at the three of us. There's enough for us. Yeah. The kids and the women are more important, and they make up 2/3 of the audience. We make up one. Like, get the kids. The kids are the most important. Like, we were the kids once. Like, if there was such a thing, like, if you read an Observer when Dave's going, like, another shit show from the Anabolic Warrior, it wasn't stopping us running around the rooms and shaking anything that resembled a rope, was it? Like, that's the proper shit. Like,
I think we're all the same. I think you are. I think you're definitely Michael, aren't you? Like, we were. You're right there. Like, Hogan was like ancient when we were kids. The Warrior was the one, wasn't he? Like, the tassels, your ties around your arms, the fucking colours, the face paint. He was the man when you were a kid, the Warrior. No, regardless, he was. Definitely.
Yeah, and I will say as well, would Roman Reigns sell an 800 capacity venue out in Bradford like Cody Rhodes?
But if you throw them at me, Andy, maybe I'll change my mind, mate.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes and Ryback on the same show. It was
fucking
like,
hell!
Wow! It was like a bloody fire hazard, that venue. And funnily enough, what you like the halftime photos and what have you, the queue for Cody Rhodes that evening compared to Ryback.
He's an ultimate worker.
Never,
like, of course he is. Yeah.
Very smart, very smart. That's one of the smartest.
Yeah. Give him that.
Also in May 2019, Brock Lesnar won the Money in the Bank ladder match, becoming Boombox Brock.
You know what? No, there's always a disclaimer with Brock Lesnar. I feel like I say that every podcast, and rightfully so. But I did love, I mean, listen, Michael, we were all entrenched in the Fed, right? But I was always anti the IWC, especially with Brian. Like, I was laughing my head off when he used to get eliminated from them Rumbles and stuff like that. No, genuinely, honestly, like, honest to God, I used to laugh my head off. I remember jumping out my seat, me and Crewy watching the one where, I think it's the 15 one, and I jumped up at my seat going, yes, fuck off, Brian. I was actually so happy that he got through out. Same here with Ali. Ali's at the top, isn't he? And at the time, I was just like,
he's got it in his hand.
I literally hold it, and Lesnar's music distracts him so much that he can't just unhook it, like. But I did have it. But at the same time, it's like, you're just taking the piss now. And if you might as well take the piss, he might as well come out sitting like a boombox, and I got a kick out of that. It was like, you might as well just go the whole hog and absolutely take the fucking piss at that point. So, yeah, wild.
The boombox is such a good example of, like, everything fundamentally wrong with WWE right at this time, because I'm with you. Like, whoever came up with that, that's so funny. And, like, he goes out and he does it, and he dances like a pillock, and, like, it's Seth and Kofi in the ring, isn't it? Looking at him going, what the fuck is this? And Paul Heyman's doing that, like, it's funny. But it's because that was the only way you could get, like, any shred of enjoyment out of anything. Everything was so meaningless. It was like, well, is there anything we can take the piss out of this week? Definitely. Like, and somebody said, well, somebody backstage said, well, we could take the piss out of the Money in the Bank briefcase. Like, we haven't taken the piss out of that yet. Let's do that. And that'd be your week. That'd be like sort of your crumbs that you get to eat. You'd feast on that. It's like gifts of Brock dancing. Was there any good wrestling? No. Any good stories? No. But Brock did a funny dance. See you in 7 days. Like, it's mad that was the extent of your enjoyment of the market leader. Like.
And crazy. Then again, in 2026, one of the most over things is someone doing a silly dance like Obafemi. But
well, yeah. Less said about him and Brock Lesnar, the better. Otherwise, me and Matty will have our 15th row with this podcast.
So going into June 2019, we have Super Showdown, which is in good old Saudi. Oh. This is the one with such highlights as Mansoor winning a 51-man battle royal, Triple H's final pay-per-view match losing to Randall Keith Orton.
Deservedly so.
Shane McMahon, who I think still at the time was the best in the world.
This is really bad.
Yeah.
Defeating Roman Reigns in 9 minutes and 15 seconds.
That's just wrong.
That was the first pinfall loss that Roman took after coming back from his leukemia recovery. It was to Shane McMahon. Yeah. Like, wild.
Yeah.
And who can forget the main event of The Undertaker defeating Goldberg?
I need to watch that back, you know. I really, really fucking do that. Just, yeah, bad, isn't it? There's no other words for it, Michael. We can't defend. Even I can't. I cannot give it any defense to that.
Rock bottom after rock bottom after rock bottom. This was. You just thought, like, how low can they go? Then they find a new low. Then you kind of get comfortable with the new low, and then people start digging a bit deeper, and you're like, oh, it gets even shitter under here. Like that. Just it kept happening.
But this, you know, that ties in because was that definitely Saudi, Andy, not Australia? Was that
Saudi? You're thinking of Super Showdown 2018, Matty, where they did that dire Triple H Undertaker main event to set up the DX Brothers of Destruction match in Saudi the prior winter.
It. Because I was saying this the tongue in cheek as well earlier to Michael, and we may text me. It's like we'll get into it more when we talk about the pay-per-view, but these like Saudi shows were. They were their own entity, Michael, weren't they? They were non-canon. They didn't follow on. It was like they forgot all about the storylines for a few weeks. Just push this for 2 weeks, watch this, and then it's like it never happened in a way. It was weird. Or as you say, if they had that Super Showdown, then it was just very, very weird. And as you say, just Undertaker and Goldberg, like just... I can't remember the build-up on telly. If it did have one, did they have a couple of stare-downs? Did he speak? I can't remember a thing from it. Like, I can't.
Couple of promos, I think, from memory. They look like the one we're going to get to. The difference is so stark because, well, like the sports washing wasn't working. Like it couldn't, because everyone was so conscious that these Saudi shows felt like they were on like an island. it wasn't doing what the job of the sports washing was, which to make everything feel normal, to make everybody feel like, oh yeah, it's so what that like it's a shows in Saudi Arabia. One day WrestleMania could be there. Like nobody was thinking that in 2018. No, like people were watching these shows, and as you say, it was just like this grim outlier rather than something that mattered or slotted into the TV or anything like that. Like to where we are now, you can see how the sports washing has actually worked, that it just happens and we get on with it, and it's just it's normal now, you know. This was anything but normal at the time,
because you had to put the legends on and the people who had been. That's what they wanted, didn't they? The Saudis at first, they wanted that main event of like legends to sell it.
Yeah.
Whereas this one we're going to talk about, to be fair, in a way, is giving you an actual universal championship match between what's going on your last pay-per-view and telly. To be fair in that regard, you're not just getting Undertaker wheeled out and Goldberg and Triple H, like you say. So maybe a little bit in the step in whatever direction you want to say, right or wrong there, but at least it was that anyway.
Yeah.
7 years as well since old Big Nose had a pay-per-view match, which
he would have been back in there if he wouldn't have had the art issue, wouldn't he? Let's be honest. He'd be at every WrestleMania, 100%.
Gagging, literally gagging in it. So going into July 2019 and August 2019, so we have Brock cashing in his money in the bank at Extreme Rules to beat Seth Rollins. And then August 2019, you have Seth Rollins beating Brock to win his belt back. And the debut of The Fiend at SummerSlam beating Finn Balor. What were your thoughts at the time of the old Fiend, Michael?
Go on.
I thought the SummerSlam debut was an unbelievable bit of business. Like, just like a proper old-fashioned Fed masterclass. Kind of like you're watching thinking, I didn't know you still had this in you. It was that sort of quality of presentation for me. Never been, that sort of work has never been my cup of tea, but like I'll acknowledge something when it's a good version of it. And I thought that was like, that him versus Finn Balor. You remember Finn Balor coming out in a white gear that he'd never worn before to further illustrate the difference between the two men, like Bray Wyatt effectively coming from the mouths of hell as this new version of The Fiend. The Firefly Funhouse vignettes had been really like unsettling and well sort of plotted out as well.
They were good at first, Michael, as well. They were really different and good then.
Super detailed in the production. Like he'd be talking down a camera, but you wouldn't be watching him from that camera, and then there'd be like a canned laughter, but the canned laughter wouldn't come after like a punchline. It'd almost come like halfway through. Like everything, you couldn't like it was all on shaky ground. The whole thing was really well. It was really well thought about without ever delving into what the idea was, which is kind of the problem with The Fiend, really. Like it was scary and weird, brackets general, but nobody ever stopped to join the dots between that and what happens in like a live setting. And I would even say, like, despite the best effort, the Finn Balor match is a squash, effectively. Yeah. But even beyond that, they don't really think about, well, what happens next? And we get the kind of consequences of that here. And obviously, as I'm imagining you might get to next, Andy, or when we do the pay-per-view, the Hell in a Cell, it's like the consequences hit them really fast and in a really, really devastatingly bad fashion. But for one night, I remember, I might have covered it at work watching live with some of the lads there, and all of us unanimously was just like, that was amazing. They have, like, all of us were kind of going in a little bit like, right, arms folded, he's going to be in front of a crowd now, this is going to die. And they've kind of nailed it, and I didn't really think they could. So that was the first impression of The Fiend, but it was probably the last good one too, I think.
I mean, sorry, you're right there, and you've nailed it, Michael. It's like, this has got to, if this was just going to be an attraction and not featured every week, and granted he didn't wrestle on Raw much, did he? He didn't as The Fiend. He always just come out, but you still featured if you just done a match and then went away and come back 2 months later, you could have milked it for years. But once you get this entity on telly every week, and literally after Hell in a Cell, you've booked yourself into the corner where he's got to be your world champion, where you've literally got to make him your champion, you fucked it. Because that, and I've said this before, which I can't believe, but I can't lie. This was how I felt at the time, and it wasn't even to do with the fact I might have been the biggest Fiend fan in the world. It's you're saying 2014 is the closest you've ever stopped, Michael. I've never had that like epiphany where I want to stop or something's made me, but this is the closest where I've sat through that Hell in a Cell. I've sat through this fucking Crown Jewel. I've sat through every match of The Fiend. And he's literally survived basically getting a bomb under his ass and blew up You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then fucking Goldberg, and I love Goldberg. This isn't favourite of wrestlers, but I've sat there for months and watched it, and Goldberg comes in and spears him and jackhammers him and pins him. And I was furious, Michael. Just from that, I've sat through all this week to week as a diehard, swallowing what you're giving me, and you've just slapped me in the face with that. Like, genuinely, I was close. I was fuming, really fucking angry, like, but that's what you do when you're a Fed fan, Michael. You have your ups and downs, don't you, mate? Fucking hell.
It's weird because, like, The Fiend, I feel like we're jumping into the analysis of the match, really, but more because it's all a character study, really, isn't it? The Fiend is such a nonsensical wrestling gimmick that it can only exist in a time when WWE itself is nonsensical. Like that Goldberg thing, like you fumed. It's funny. Like I think I pissed myself at that, just being like, what a total mess this is. But like in its own way, you can only book something like that in a company that makes less than 0 sense. You couldn't book it in WWE now. Do you know? You could not book that the way that played out. Like. You just roll your eyes or you shrug your shoulders. You go, right, you are. Then I guess we're getting Goldberg versus Roman Reigns. Like,
and I knew why, because he wanted a big Mania marquee match. But then don't push him for months as your big marquee if you're not going to use him at WrestleMania if you don't think he's good enough.
And it's still like wanting have your cake and eat it too, because they had the Fiend rock up behind John Cena and point at the WrestleMania sign and be like, so hang on. So you're still getting the big match, but it's just like in the left hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing, let alone the right one. And it's just like that was what that company was. Sorry, Andy, I always feel like I want to extend an olive branch to Matty when I've had to go at Roman Reigns. So I'm going to praise him to the hilt here. Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan was probably WWE's best match of the year. But the second best,
I know what you're going to say,
was Extreme Rules with Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon versus the Graveyard Dogs. Unbelievable bit of business. Father and son, dad and lad team of The Undertaker and Roman Reigns taking out that little puke Shane McMahon at his absolute worst, and Drew McIntyre just trying to like be this big bullying figure and be like, I'm better than The Undertaker now, and finding out that he still wasn't like quite the guy. The heat is and it opens as well. Like the heat is unreal for everything. That's like the work of the work, that stuff. Proper stuff.
Michael, I thought you were going to say Walter beating Tyler Bate at TakeOver Cardiff.
Sorry.
But you know what as well? I mean, sorry if I'm just picking out 2019 stuff there for you, Andy, as you're going through. That Extreme Rules event, Michael, was just an absolute mind blow, because do you remember? It's been lost and it never gets mentioned, this. And this is, you know, it falls victim of WWE at the time, where nothing ever that stood out there is memorable, but this should. Do you remember that bump Kevin Owens took off Braun Strowman off the top of the stage? Jesus Christ. The room for everything, Michael. That was that is up there with anything. Like Jay, I've got the goosebumps. That is unbelievable stuff. Like fuck.
He takes it never gets played. He takes a one at around the similar time, because they were doing the storyline where Braun was bullying him like every good babyface on the ladder one, but they couldn't get a good shot of it. And Kevin Owens just takes this like crazy fall off a ladder on the aisle on the ramp, and they couldn't get like a good angle of it, so you would never get it replayed. And it's absolutely sick. Like he was, that cage one as well. It's that Extreme Rules show that was like a month before or after Stomping Grounds, where they had to put a giant curtain up because they could only put people in. It was like a two-sided building, wasn't it? Because they had to put everybody on the camera sides, and that was it.
Like a collision taping, basically.
But and as well, that Extreme Rules main evented by that Iron Man match with Seth and Dolph Ziggler, where the fans just started taking the piss out the clock.
That was so funny, wasn't it? No. Do you know what? That was the year before. Because the Extreme Rules main.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. It's because it was Seth and Becky versus Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans.
And Lacey Evans. I used to like Lacey Evans. Now I've got all the hands up.
I've got some thoughts later on. Save that for later.
So quickly going through the last highlights of the year, or lowlights. Royal Quest happened, the first one at Copper Box, which Benno missed, which was Minoru Suzuki losing to Okada in one of the best live matches I've ever seen. October 2019, Seth and The Fiend in the Hell in a Cell, which you said, where he basically couldn't kill The Fiend.
They stopped the Hell in a Cell match, though.
They did.
That's the one, like, no contest in the Hell in a Cell. It's meant to be the most barbaric match, and just not happy at all with that.
And the final thing, are you ready for a good time? As SmackDown debuts on Fox with the Brock Lesnar beating Kofi Kingston in 8 seconds.
I remember being on a night out, and we just obviously it would have been the Crazy House or some rock bar, and I remember going to Mr. Chips on Bold Street. And I remember it was after SmackDown had finished, so Gary, my cousin, was looking at the results. He weren't keeping up, but he knew I did. And he just said, look at that. And it just said, yeah, Brock Lesnar won it like that. And I was like, for fuck's sake. Even then, it was like, fuck me. He didn't even do a proper match, because Brock didn't do TV matches, did he? Hasn't since. And I thought, I didn't even have it in my head that it'd be that short. I thought, because it's the premiere, wasn't it, on Fox, he's going to have a proper match here. That's how you're selling it. Hoodwinked again, Michael. Awful stuff.
Yeah. Great way of putting it, that hoodwink, Jay. He just felt so cheated in every respect. They'd opened the show with The Rock. He would he came in just to do a bit with Becky Lynch and Baron Corbin, I think it was. Yes. And that's, you get the big names out, you're going to pop a number and then not focus the week after. But my memory of that was because it was the year earlier where they'd signed the new rights deal and it was set to start on Fox. So what that was the first $1 billion wrestling show. That contract overall on Fox was going to be worth $1 billion to the Fed, and that had never been done before. And you are watching the first episode, and it's just the same as usual, isn't it? They got their money, and then it was like how much buyer's remorse must have Fox had when the complaints came rolling in the next day for this absolutely abysmal finish, and a number that didn't even, I want to say it did about 4 million, maybe even less, but it was disappointing. I remember it was it was not what was hoped for because of the exposure, and obviously that proved true in the deal, didn't it? The Fox, they didn't ultimately renew with Fox at the end of that deal. It was a one and done for that 4 years or whatever it was. And it's really bleak, really, really bleak. Kofi Kingston's reign was really boring, by the way. It was way more about the moment of him winning than about the actual extension of the reign. He was doing Randy Orton, just drab shite, but give him a bit of dignity in defeat than that. It was just, again, it was antagonistic by design. I refuse to believe it was anything other than, well, let's not piss them off. And then what, horrendous.
I'm surprised he didn't have a feud with Man in Trousers Kane, because that's generally the first feud for any...
I think he was gone around this time, really, Kane. I think he was properly gone, maybe. 18, remember him with Strowman knocking about in 18, was that? Maybe
well,
17?
It was Crown Jewel 18, where his mask and wig fell off against DX, wasn't it?
And that was a coming back kind of thing. Yeah, he was done. Yeah.
Aye.
So, just some of the shitter stories of 2019. Just quick rundown. So we had Aleister Black's darkened room waiting for a fight.
That went on for months. It felt.
Yeah.
Who knocked on the door, Michael? Do you remember? I don't.
Cesaro, I think.
Was it? Yeah.
I think.
Hell.
I remember.
Anticlimactic can it be? Fucking hell.
The Blackpool Coffee Club. He turns up with his latte and he's like, "I'll fight you."
The big swig of coffee. That's what we're going for.
The big swig. The swig Superman.
Oh, fucking hell, lad. Keep hitting me with these, Andy. These are taking me back.
Good.
Mizzy's dad.
Oh, George was a legend. Michael, come on, that mania.
George. George Mizanin, yeah.
Oh.
Still laughing at the fucking Blackpool Coffee Club.
That's the best. How bad did he know? How bad did it still exist? The Death Riders are just a spin-off.
It is mad. It is mad.
The Revival shaving each other's backs. Uzi Hot.
Do you know what? It's horrendous. But it pops me when I watch it. Fair play to Dax, right? Because when he drags his ass across the ring like a dog, you can't fault his commitment to the bit there, can you? If you're going to be given shit and you still try and get it over, I got a bit of time for you. I don't think they're at fault for anything in their run. They were right. They tried their best.
He did.
The Mike and Maria storyline where Maria claimed Ricochet was the dad.
Oh God.
bad one. Forgot they even
Paul-
came back. Miracle, Mike Bennett, yeah. Fuck it.
There was Paul Heyman's misogyny, wasn't he? Like he was. Remember when him and Eric Bischoff were the creative directors of Raw and SmackDown, and he booked like.
It didn't last long, did it?
No, and
Bischoff didn't anyway. He definitely didn't.
There was always jokes about him just being sat in catering and not realizing what was going on, wasn't there? Like while he was at SmackDown. But Paul Heyman booked about 3 separate storylines where it was like proper throwbacks to like the woman bossing a man around or treating a man like shit. There was like Lana with Rusev and Maria with Mike Kanellis and stuff. It was like trashy throwback slop Paul Heyman stuff. You know, like the stuff he'd do in 2002 to distract Vince so he could do his SmackDown 6 matches. There was just like a lot. Yeah, there was like a lot of that, but without the good matches to sort of offset it.
Yeah. As you mentioned, the Rusev Lana Lashley storyline, which,
Liv Morgan as well got involved, didn't she?
Yeah, end of the year. Yeah. Rotten.
One thing that me and Matty have covered before, Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns with the dog food.
I think I said on the show, I think that, and this isn't me Roman biased either, I think as old school territory angle, I think that initial angle for Heat was good. Like, it's the shit after it, like I said, where he comes out with in the dog suit and all that, and the barking music, that's shite. But that initial Heat angle and them getting his comeuppance, I think that's just old school wrestling territory shit to me. Like, it just gets tired, doesn't it? Because it's in such a bad period as well. You know what we've all said. For me, anyway.
It was definitely one of your episodes of Shite where I threw my phone into the river, but it wasn't that one, I don't think. Like
you must have been going through so many phones, Michael. Fucking hell.
Oh God, man. No, it's that image, isn't it, of like Roman and because that all paid off at the start of 2020, and you've got that image of Roman and the Usos giving it like with the dog food, and then like 12 months on. And look at what like Roman started to build with Jey Uso and like Paul here. Like that's the difference is stark. Like that, like Roman needed to stop being that Roman Reigns pronto. Like he needed that had to go away. Like
even in this, Michael, what we're gonna get into this show, he's almost there, and he looks a bit like what he become kind of thing, but it's still that aesthetic of the vest and all that. It's wild, like even as even a fan from day one, like even I've got to admit that's why I love him even more now because he what he turned into. Genuinely, like
he was the ringmaster for a long time, wasn't
he? He was, yeah, not 2 months like Steve.
No.
So there you go. That's 2019 done in like a nutshell. But
was 2019? No, sorry, last one was that Rowan's fucking Lecky Spider, Michael? Was that 2019?
It started in 2019 and it moved into 2020.
Oh, okay.
Because Drew McIntyre turned babyface and he smashed it to death with a hammer.
Oh, yeah.
So that was, like, obviously. You're getting your animals confused, Matty, you see, because 2019 was Gary the Goat Garbett. Where Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre came up with the brilliant idea of being like, Roman's partner's going to be a caretaker. Get him in the ring with this mask on. And it wasn't a caretaker under a mask, obviously. It was an actual wrestler. They still lost the match, but Roman was like, we fooled them in defeat.
Fucking awful, isn't it? It is. Yeah. There's some shit here, Andy. You're right.
So that's 2019 over with, but let's get into the pay-per-view, which I've made you watch. It's WWE Crown Jewel 2019 from Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, the Kingfield International Stadium on October 31st, 2019, coming in at 3 hours and 31 minutes of our lives we'll never get back. But before we get into the actual wrestling, UK #1 single time. What do you think?
Well, I'm just going to say Drake. That's all I'm just going to say at this point.
I'll take a punt then on Ed Sheeran. Too late?
Well, you're not close. You're cold. Dance Monkey by Tones and I.
Was that 7 years ago?
I remember that,
yeah.
And funnily enough, I've just read an article today of that Tones and I is going to be on the Australian version of The Voice as a judge.
There you go.
There you go.
UK #1 album And do you still think Drake?
I'll still go Drake. I mean, yeah, I don't know anybody else who was around. Taylor Swift, the usual, that's still here now. Taylor Swift.
I feel like I've got to stick with my Ed Sheeran now, just on the off chance, haven't I? If I switch, then he's gonna. Yeah, I'll go with him again.
It is Everything Not Saved Will Be Lost, Part 2 by Foals.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
never heard of it.
Never heard of them? No, good band.
I like Foals. I don't know that album well, but I like Foals enough.
So this is the show with the flight problems after. Due to what is it, Prince Bin Salman stopping WWE's chartered plane in relation to Vince claiming that Saudi owed them money.
Yeah,
was that the show? Yeah, I didn't realise.
Yeah, you got so what happened was you got the NXT SmackDown the following night, obviously with all the wrestlers stuck, and everybody loved it because it was just like a Triple H booked edition of SmackDown featuring a card full of NXT wrestlers and the few that like hadn't flown to Saudi. And it was just the most critically acclaimed SmackDown of the year, and it was the perfect Survivor Series build because they framed it like an invasion rather than it being the usual Raw versus SmackDown thing. It fell into the laps.
Yeah,
Adam Cole and Bryan had a ripper of a main event, really good. Yeah, because Bryan hadn't gone obviously to Saudi, so he was available. I went to one of the free. I got a bunch of free tickets because of those lights at WrestleMania. I like a house show in Newcastle, but also they offered me Survivor Series tickets, so I took them. And me and my cousin went to Chicago and watched Takeover War Games and Survivor Series in Chicago. So I was kind of like I was buzzing and I was like firing myself up, enjoying the NXT side of the invasion to get a bit of a kick out of Survivor Series weekend. You know, there was like a good few over, like Kevin Owens joined Team NXT against the Undisputed Era and stuff like that because they had rocked up on Raw. So it was like it did freshen the product up for a month. Did NXT coming on the main roster, even though it only existed so that could boost NXT because it was already getting pounded in the ratings by Dynamite. So everything was being done cynically, but it made for like some pretty good telly.
Definitely.
So there was a dark match on this show, a 20-man battle royal, which was won by Humberto Carrillo, who'd face AJ Styles later on. But let's get into the main card, which starts off. Is it the WWE title here? With Brock Lesnar taking on his foe from UFC, Cain Velasquez. Now, I actually remember where I was for this show. I was waiting on the platform of Kingsway Business Park for the Metrolink back to Rochdale Town Centre. I think it was on like a Thursday night at 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. None of these like Saturday at 6 p.m. It was literally midweek. Cain Velasquez, and see any of his UFC, Matty?
No, I'm not the UFC guy. The last person that's ever been a UFC guy, really. But obviously aware of who he was, the name, when you're obviously on the site and the forums and listening to Meltzer and all that, you know who he is. But yeah, and like I said before, this is what the original Saudi shows were. If it wasn't legends, it was getting celebrities or other fighters in from other combat sports, which we'll get another one later on. But yeah, this is just is this Terry and Jim stuff? This where Brock just got him in to get his win back after all the years. That's what it feels like here. Like just so random. It legitimately random. I know they tied Kane in, didn't they, with Rey Mysterio, Michael, and building up Survivor Series with him. But a lot of nonsense, really. This, isn't it? Let's be honest.
He got a deal out of this, didn't he? He got released during the pandemic, if I remember correctly.
Did he?
He was on the books. Yeah, he was on the. They were trying to
Triple A, didn't he?
Yeah, he wore a mask and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like he had a weird fascination with wrestling for a minute. I remember that, but then Christ, watching this, you wonder why. Like this was embarrassing.
Yeah, this is bad, Andy. Bottom of the barrel stuff.
I would say it worked well at the start as an MMA match, but it was very quick, weren't it? Where it plays into the backstory of Kane like pummeling Brock in UFC. So what they showed on the video package, but he just gets caught out of nowhere with a Kimura and he taps out. Comparing the look of the two, he looked tiny, didn't he? Cain Velasquez to Brock.
Yeah,
Like,
he didn't look great at all, did he?
No.
Pete Brock.
Yeah, this is, honestly, can't say anything good about it. Even the aftermath with Ray, I know it's building that up, but Ray comes in with the chair, doesn't he? And then Lesnar gives Kane the F5 on the chair. Give him props there, he took that well. He did take that well. And then Ray comes in again to run him off, Brock. It was just, it's just paint. I always defend like paint by numbers in that way of like, but this is just awful. Like it is. It's just nothing good to say about it at all, Michael. Like, I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, it's paint by numbers, but that's if you're using human shit instead of paint. Like, it's like,
there you go.
It's just crap, isn't it? It's like, who's it? I think you've nailed it with that Hogan Warrior thing, you know, because when you're looking at something like this, you're sort of thinking to yourself, right, who's it for? In order, who's it for? It's for whoever the fuck has asked for this show in general. So, like, their Saudi paymasters. It's potentially for Brock Lesnar, who wants to get his win back. It's potentially for Cain Velasquez, who wants a really good payday for a really easy night's work. Like, when on the list do we get there? Like, when to sort of like, where down, are we in the relegation zone of things they care about in this match? Like, it's just,
You're right.
I'm watching something that clearly doesn't exist to our benefit, so why should we pay it any respect? You know, Ray and Brock at the Survivor Series with Dom was an all right bit of business. Like, that entire mini program was okay, but Kane gets booed. Like, the fans, there's so little they're into on this show, and they still see through Cain Velasquez.
Yeah.
But it's very much starting that era now of, like, well, Saudi especially, freak fights, and you only have to see, was it 7 years later in 2026, where they're the most popular draws, aren't they? These, like, freak fights or celebrities. I mean, you got coming up at time of recording Tommy Fury versus fucking Eddie Hall. You know, the
is that a boxing match? That
boxing match, yeah.
I've never bought into it, and listen, I'm not a big boxing purist, but I do like a good big boxing match. You know what I mean? It must be like the purists must be going mad about this, but you'll get the people like ourselves, though, Michael, who were, you know, Fed fans. So I've got to like hold my hand up here. Like, there'll be some who just are that ingrained, entrenched, whatever word we're going to use, that just go along with the ride as well at the same time. But them ultra purists, like, must fucking hate all this. They must.
Mm. Well, is it that different from the way we're talking about this version of WWE? Something that has strayed so far from what the thing you actually liked was, and we're still, you know, like I'm not a boxer. I've never really enjoyed boxing. Like, people compare boxing and wrestling to me. It's like comparing football and cricket. Just because you play it on the same surface, it doesn't mean the sports are remotely the same. So I've never really got anything out of boxing other than when it is promoted like pro wrestling. Because that like
more now, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, like, but then I can realize at the same time that what they're going to sell to me is no way what they can deliver. Like, I think the one I took a passing interest in was that Netflix one with Tyson. But then, like, it's you want to imagine that it exists in pretend world where Tyson isn't like a 50-odd-year-old man or whatever it is, and it's just a weird freak show.
That's just because Mike Tyson's a former DX member, mate. That's why you like that.
That's a good point, yeah.
That's it.
He didn't come out and crotch chop with his elbows like he used to. But that's a good point, yeah. That's.
I forgot to mention about Cain Velasquez's entrance music, which sounded like, you know, that trombone following a fat man on Family Guy.
Very good.
Let's move on, because this was, as Michael said, written in shit. This everything about it, like, fucking awful.
I went 1 star on it anyway. If we're keeping star ratings, dud. There's something worse than a dud on this show later on. But match number 2, and the first entrance music we hear is Glorious.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Listen, can I just go in on this, because the streets, I mean, I've said it a while now, Bobby, I'm probably the biggest Bobby Roode guy in the world, but the streets won't forget the dirty dogs, Michael. They won't. They got through together. Yeah. Listen, they got, like, he was with Gable, Bobby Roode. It was like, what are we going to do with this old bastard in Vince's mind? Just put him in a tag team. And Dolph Ziggler aside, people are up and down on Dolph Ziggler, and rightfully so at various stages. But they made this fucking act work. They got into it. They got a good run out of it. Ray and Dom at Backlash in that fucking empty arena. You'd feel like there was 50,000 people there, the way they worked that match. They tell a great story because no one's there. The screens are clapping, Andy. They've grown arms because they're that fucking good to work.
Do you remember? you remember for whatever reason Ray and Dom came through like a vortex? Remember that? Like forever. It's like sort of swirling Rick and Morty type vortex behind the screen, and Ray was like, "You ready, Dom?" And I was really. Matty, I'm glad you said it. I'm a Dirty Dogs truther.
Yes.
Like
got Bron Breaker over at XT as well.
Like the little matching like denim jackets they had when they really figured themselves out, and that. Yes. Like I think like. If you look at the trim that Dolph was in at the time, I think it's because he realised he was suddenly teaming with a shoot body guy in Bobby Roode. It was just like, Bobby Roode was like a low-key chicken and broccoli fella, wasn't he? Like, when you actually looked at that physique, you were like, hang on a second. Like, I had a bit of time for the Dirty Dogs. Yeah, I've got so few happy memories of SmackDown from that period, but the Dirty Dogs are in some of them.
Yeah, but it plays off in this match, like the first match with the Lucha Dragons, is it? Loved it. Like this match is so up and down, but it encapsulates the whole period for me. Like the first couple are good. Like obviously the win with the super kick, isn't it? At the end, the stack super kick, is it? Or the stack zigzag is what they hit on Hawkins and Ryder, who get there like 2 minutes in the sun. Michael, there's never a Ryder and a Hawkins guy. Like, hope you with me on that.
Hawkins, like in his bloody Bret Hart Edge hybrid gear. Get the fuck out. Like there's like the Kurt Hawkins like delivered that all-timer line, didn't he? Where like somebody asked him like, why at the Hall of Fame 2019, like didn't you go and help Bret Hart? And he said, I couldn't actually hear that there was a commotion because Ricochet and Aleister Black were clapping so loud for Triple H.
I've got plenty of time for Brian Myers in real life. I love him, but not in ring work or nothing. Yeah,
but Hawkins not for me.
But it did like that stack zigzag. Love little aspects of that. Just to lift it. Loved that. Like loved it. But then we get
Zack Ryder. I'm going to mention just playing out to silence in 2026. Cody's mate.
Yeah,
terrible.
Bad. That little stable of Cody's friends. That's another reason why I can't bear him. Cody like. Ricky Starr, come on, Michael.
No, you're totally right. It'd be a nightmare if Roman Reigns started getting some talentless family or friends on telly, wouldn't it? Like,
at least they get a reaction though.
Good job we dodged that bullet. Whew.
I thought you were an MFT guy to the end, Michael. Come on, you can't be getting conflicted here.
I was worried there for a second that Cody Rhodes was going to get Jimmy Uso push. Oh, thank God.
Big Jim all day over Matt Cardona, though, Andy. Come on. Look, you got to split the difference here.
Yeah, Big Jim, any day. One thing I will mention, the next team who were out, I don't know, a bit of a fan of. Otis and Tucker, Heavy Machinery. Now, Otis, who's kept his job for quite a while now, underrated. When he's asked to do a job, he does it.
He is like, and I mean this in the nicest way as well, positively, and hopefully he's all agree. Like you say there, he's that wrestler, Otis. You can literally throw him out there. He reminds me of like that. I wouldn't go too far to bury him and say like British wrestler type, Michael. But you know what I'm trying to say, don't you? We'll work like the fucking the carnivals, or work like them campy shows, and just be. But it resonates in front of the WWE fans across, like Michael saying, this era. But then he's fucking over in the new era when it was having its boom as well. He can't be denied, Otis. He can't. He's one of them wrestlers that...
The Gable stuff, weren't it?
Even the other week with Obafemi.
Obafemi, yeah.
Fucking hell, that was a great little bit. Yeah. That. Otis, a lot of time for him. Love it.
I think, like when you ever get together, you've probably done like podcasts on it before and that, like when you get together, if you're like sort of fantasy booking your roster or your starting 11 or whatever, like I'd take Pelters. You'd get laughed at within your group for like picking Otis and picking the Miz, but then you put your card together and you'd be so glad that you've got them both. Like I really firmly believe that. Like it's the old Jim Cornetteism about being that you can't start a promotion with a roster full of main eventers, but it's not. It goes beyond that because you then need people that can like do every job on the card.
James Milner then.
Like honestly, like Otis is a sort of a working man's James Milner. Like James Milner's a work rate Miz. Like he's I back wrestlers like that for the purpose. So if I'm going to a house show, I guarantee you they're going to like be perfect in that first or second match. Like they're absolutely ideal. Like
Yeah.
Santino was the same. Like there's absolutely a place for these. The good ones, anyway. There's some absolute shit ones, but the good ones, they kind of show themselves as the years go by, I think.
But also, you're going to see it in a few weeks, aren't you? When they're going to obviously carry it on, where you're going to see Maxine leave Otis, and you're going to be like, even though they're not together, you're going to be heartbroken, and they're going to sell it, and he's going to play that emotion, and you're going to be invested because it's Otis. It's still got that magic. Yeah, it is.
So a few other teams in this one. Obviously, Kofi Kingston back down to the tag division with Big E. Tucker and Otis get rid of your mates, the Dirty Dog.
Should have went all the way, the lads. Should have.
New Day pin Tucker, and then we get B team, go.
I need a rant here, Michael. Hope you with me. One of the worst tag teams that have ever existed in the history of wrestling for me, the B team. Never got it. Never was on board with it. What were they a part of? The
Mr. Raj.
The Mr. Raj. You were all right as the Mr. Raj.
To speak as somebody, again, the Miz that will shine up any shite that you've got and try and make the best of it. There's another example of that, like, because they sort of fit there, didn't they?
Then the B team was just, honestly, it was awful. The game, everything about it. They look like shit. The gear they're wearing, awful. One of the worst, genuinely.
Yeah, no disagreements from me.
And out next, so it's old FTR, the Revival. Lads, they look like a totally different version compared to what's in AEW now. It's like fucking night and day.
Yeah.
It's like they've grew inches though, not just bodies. It's like, and they're still not the biggest guys, but it's like they've been expanded out vertically. Like genuinely, they look like tiny, didn't they?
It's funny you mention that. Because I remember feeling like when they left NXT to go to the main roster, it was as if they'd like had the thumb pushed on them as well. Like they didn't carry themselves with any sense of confidence, or like it didn't matter what, as you say, it didn't matter what the size were. They were like irresistible to watch in NXT. Like they'd not single-handedly, but they'd basically brought tag wrestling back to WWE.
100%.
Like between them and American Alpha and them and Enzo and Cass, and that like they were at the center of all of those
well.
DIY. That match, fucking hell, that triple threat with the Authors of Pain, where DIY and the Revival have got to start sharing their own offense just to beat the Authors of Pain. It's like so elegant, for a WWE triple threat match. But then what, a year and a half on the main roster, and they were these like, just you could tell it was just they were having a life beaten out of them. Did you notice on the trunks? Because by this point, Being the Elite had already gotten FTR over for Fuck the Revival, and did you notice it was printed on the trunks? Yeah. Like they've definitely spoke to the Young Bucks at this point, and they've said, when's your contract's due? And they've told them, and it's going to be like, right, just sit tight. It's like AEW will be here in June or whatever it is, and we'll be waiting for you. Like they have to have done.
Well, there's one for you. I could be shit on straight away here, but who do you prefer then? Do you prefer the Bucks or do you prefer FTR? Who's your as well?
So I don't even like the Young Bucks, but I think they're probably the best tag team ever. I think in every respect, like if you stack up the quality of the matches, their ability to carry, their ability as heels, their ability less so as baby faces, but their influence because of the formation of All Elite Wrestling, their ability to get like Being the Elite, man, was basically a weekly TV show that was between New Japan, Ring of Honor, and the Independents. That sort of stuff doesn't come around very often.
I watch that every week. Yeah,
me too. Influence. Like I think they're probably they're the best ever. People don't like it to admit it because they're kind of a couple of arseholes, and CM Punk was right. But other than that, like.
But I love that about them. I love the nudge, wink, wink. I love that on TV. They take the piss. Their gimmick is that they're playing professional wrestlers. I love that. All day long. For someone who will love a serious bit of stuff, I don't give a shit. It's fake, all that. I love all that. At the same time as I'll watch a fucking serious fucking grudge match, you know what I mean? I'm not bothered, but I love that about the Young Bucks, and it can rub people the wrong way, obviously.
The Revival's tag run in NXT means more to me than anything the Young Bucks has ever done, personally.
Yeah.
Like it just, I love that run.
I prefer to watch FTR in there and that, but overall, I think the Young Bucks is Young Bucks, yeah.
I used to love the PWG version of the Young Bucks more than see on AEW.
Yeah.
No, another level that, but I prefer FTR now.
FTR
is a tag team.
All time a tag team.
You just know you're going to get a fucking good match, don't you? Well, you do with Young Bucks, but not like they were 7-8 years ago.
I'd be quite curious for FTR to jump back now, you know. Like, I think it's...
Do you reckon it's got steam, that, Michael? Do you reckon that's got legs, that, or do you reckon that's just a bit
I'm not sure what else I want to see them do in AEW, and I think that's all right. I think they jumped in 2020. Do you know what I mean? That's like a 6-year run. That's longer than anyone would spend in a territory way back when. Like, just a change of scenery, some new teams to work, see if you can do a salvage job of whatever remains of the Fed's current tag division. Just have a look.
They'd be positioned as that as well.
Levels, wouldn't it, you know?
Like where the Motor City Machine Guns were coming as that, but they're old. I know they're older as well, FTR, don't get me wrong, but they still got more miles on the clock than Motor City. So
I just think it'd be something to look at.
Yeah, definitely.
So New Day get rid of the Revival, and then out next is the old CEO Gallows and Anderson collecting a payday again, hugging a payday. And they end up eliminating the New Day, and outlast is your current in 2026 AAA Tag Team Champions, the old Viking Raiders, War Raiders.
Listen, never, once again, Michael, hope you back me up here. Never been what would they call in New Japan?
War Machine.
War Machine. Never been a War Machine, Viking Raiders, War Raiders guy at all. My first WrestleMania, for whatever people want to say about it, was tarnished for me personally with that New Day and fucking War Raiders, the second one.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Literally everyone left to get a bevy. After Jey Uso had literally just brought the stadium down, winning the title, everyone went to the bar or whatever, the merch, when that tag match come in. Good positioning, actually, now I look back at it. But, Michael, the streets will never forget, was it 2022, that Ivar singles run, mate, on Raw? I'm telling you now. Oh, my. Otis and Ivar going at it, Gable and...
Was mate, I've got the round as well they were in?
But on his own, I'm telling you, what a run that was, Michael. He was doing banger after banger on a weekly basis, mate. Wow.
Ivar singles run, Viking rules. Why have we not had more matches on a boat? Make that ring a fucking boat again.
You'd love that.
That was the Street Profits.
New Day had one of them, didn't he? A Viking rules match with them, yeah.
The Street Profits and Viking Rules was Viking Raiders was one of those worst the pandemic things where they got eaten by a bin monster. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was.
Did he?
Yeah. Do you not remember that?
No.
The Street Profits and the Viking Raiders were having. It was at the horror show Extreme Rules. They had a brawl, and they fell into like a big skip, and then all of a sudden there was like a tentacle that was like reaching through the bin bags that was going to eat him or something. It's just. The Viking Raiders, like have you ever watched a match where you don't like anybody in it and yet you end up loving the match, and you've got to be like, you sort of have to stand up and be like, Christ, they've done.
Yeah.
That NXT show was on about before. The opener was the Viking Raiders versus Aleister Black and Ricochet.
Oh,
it is unbelievable. It's one of the best tag matches I've ever seen in real life, and and it's like I don't like either of you two. Singles baby faces. I don't like any of this Viking shit. Like, never gone in for any of that sort of stuff. And the four of them just they just work their asses off the whole way through, non-stop 100-mile-an-hour stuff. Proper, you can tell it's competitive. Like, they know Ricochet is the best flyer, so they're all trying to level up to him. They know that Ali Black's got a good strike in him, so they're all trying to level up. And the Viking Raiders do the best double teams, so Ricochet and Aleister Black try and do their best double. It's so good.
But as I say though, Ivar's the Sean. Eric's the Matty, 1,000,000%.
The Viking Rockers.
So it ends up with the OC winning this match to become the best tag team in the world. 2.5 stars. It was all right at the start.
It had some good stuff when the lads were in at the start. Good stuff, but then it just went gradually downhill and ended up with the fucking OC line. I've never been a fan of them. Whether they were good on podcasts or not, I don't care. They're awful. Yeah. Don't ever want to see them. Terrible.
I thought this was boring. I wasn't even as kind to the work as you guys were. I thought most of this was it was the biggest problem on the show. Look at who you're talking to. I don't need the wrestling to be amazing, but it was just so drab. The agent, and it was so unimaginative. Nobody's got. You can just feel Vince McMahon's control on literally every aspect of the product, to the point where it doesn't matter who's in the ring, it doesn't matter who's cutting the promo, everything is him. Like all of it. The commentators, I don't know if you've got this in your notes next. It's literally as we come out with this match. Michael Cole says, a wise man told me we should be paying him to do this job. And it's like Vince McMahon is feeding Michael Cole that line about himself to say to us. And Corey Graves is like, haha, you're sure right, Cole, you stupid piece of shit. And he's told Corey to call Michael Cole whatever he's called him in their little bit of supposed banter. None of it's real. And the matches, I think, have that exact problem. It's just nobody has a shred of like agency. They get to work at 5 o'clock at night and the mad old cunt tells them what to do for their job. They do it and then they leave. And then the same thing happens night after night after night after night. From the fireworks down to the commentary, down to the wrestling, down to the ropes, down to all of it. It's just his slop melted brain
within an inch of his life, though. Yeah, definitely.
Match number 3, and it's possibly the best match on the show with Mr. 3 Stars himself, Cesaro, taking on the unstoppable Saudi monster, Mansoor. Michael Cole also mentions about Corey Graves. It's the first podcast on the WWE's official podcast platform. We've also got to mention Cesaro's skinny pants and night combo. He forgot his gear.
He's had some rough ones, hasn't he, Michael, over the years? He's had some rough looks. I mean, and listen, he gets carried by Mansoor, so we're all happy, aren't we? I mean, this for me, you're right. And all jokes aside, this is what Cesaro for me should be in this, and like this is where he, always all that stuff about him being world champion and all that. It's just he had a great career, and this is what he's made for me. Getting someone in there and literally showing him the way, being that base that he's known for, and being that base that he is. And listen, like some of the stuff in here, how high does he get him on that push-up forearm? Unbelievable stuff. So he, in here for it, I'm putting him over as well. Fair play to him. All joking aside again, but. This is Cesaro for me, especially at this point. And I know people are shouting at the earphones here, but no, this for me is what he should be doing at this point.
No, I totally agree. Right, we probably have a lot of fun at Cesaro's expense. Like for a man that likes his coffee, sure was dressed for an all bar one here. Like, but what I've got to give him here, right? There is an example on this show of what happens when you have a supposed moves guy versus a supposed inexperienced guy. And like, it's not a guarantee that it's going to be good. And then likewise, you could say, well, it's because Mansoor's got the hometown crowd. But again, I'll push back because in early 2020, they basically try and repeat the formula with Mansoor because he fights Dolph Ziggler on the 2020. You know the show where the Undertaker wins that like frozen piss trophy. It's one of the last ones before the lockdown in Saudi Arabia. Mansoor fights Dolph, and it doesn't get half as much as this one gets off the crowd. Like there is I'm not saying anyone can do the moves match, but like I think it's unfair to throw this one off as just being like Cesaro doing his best moves. Like down the stretch. Down the stretch, this is hot stuff, and again, it's actually got like its own life as opposed to so much on this card. It's actually got its own like idea. You are watching Cesaro versus Mansoor, not just like wrestler A versus inexperienced wrestler B. They are actually being themselves and allowed to portray something.
It's even that like little stuff like that. It's old school stuff, like basic in it, where and Brett was the master at it. With only a few spots, I'll even say that, where like you do a spot, say like the crucifix for example, he did that early, and then the second time he went for the crucifix, Brett, he'd get like Samoan dropped out of it, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This was here, the gut wrench off the second rope, went through it again, flipped into the powerbomb. How good did that look though, Michael? Fucking hell.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you know what as well? I was considering how much WWE have lent on this in 2026. Now nobody can actually do it anymore. Like that spot where, like you get is it like that? Mansoor does that like hangman's flipping neck breaker from the outside in, and then Cesaro gets his foot on the rope. Like it's a really good near fall. But like I was just thinking, Christ, I've missed wrestlers being able to position themselves correctly.
Exactly.
Because you're even seeing like Gunther shunting over, and you're seeing like they're like WWE are really high on it at the moment, and it's nobody can perform it. It looks fake when people like try and get towards the ropes. And Cesaro's positioning here for quite an intricate spot was just exceptional.
It was like that Sol Ruka one, weren't it? Getting in position for Becky Lynch the other week.
Aye.
For the leg drop. And it was like Homer Simpson like dancing round on the floor, weren't it?
But not even it, as Michael said, it's like becoming like widespread that like even seasoned vets you like a Gunther, you wouldn't expect it. Where they're in the ring and I know the camera tries to shy away from it, even like getting in position for like a top rope splash, for example. They might land short, and then you see them like shuffling along like a caterpillar. You're right, and it's like these are meant to be seasoned vets. Like think of something else. Like the other guy should get them up, or at least hit an elbow and shove them across. Just because you choreograph within an inch of his life doesn't mean you can't do that. It makes it look better. Like just use your brains. Like it's wild.
They've not got them anymore.
Yeah,
like that is you're witnessing instincts disappear, like the old-fashioned instincts disappear, and it becomes like, what am I doing again? And then they'll even tell you on Unreal that like that's nothing to do with the wrestlers, it's to do with Triple H and Abyss and the referee, and like they're on their little puppets on strings, aren't they? They're not, but that's how they're wanting it to be presented at this point.
Yeah. So I thought here 3 stars. I thought best match of the.
About right to Cesaro. Yeah.
It hit his level this evening as ever. Match number 4, Braun against one and only Tyson Fury.
Now you know what? I've got to say, now this is where at least Fury was the actual undisputed fucking heavyweight champion winning at this point, Andy. Yeah, so you've got to give them that it's a current, once again, within the infancy of these shows where they're getting the stars on. But fucking hell, I mean, and I'm a Braun Strowman too for Michael. I'll always have a lot of time for him, mate. Even on that comeback again in that Triple H era, he had a little spot. He got Bronson Reed over, didn't he? And stuff like that. Fatu as well. He had to go getting him over. So it was like passing the torch monster-wise and all that, which I love. He got it off Big Show, Kane, whatever you think about them. That's like the trajectory and the fucking timeline for that.
Yeah.
But in this, like, I mean, when you expect him to carry a Tyson Fury, he's not Cesaro, is he?
I'm not a Braun Strowman truther, but I am an entrance truther, and I thought it was like a really funny detail that like Tyson Fury has such a preposterous entrance that like Braun starts getting pissed off, and I thought that's like quite a creative way to start this. He's wound up at this point by the very existence of like Tyson Fury, so you'd think he'd be this like ball of rage, and it's not so much like it's not the traditional carry job that Braun has to do. It's just he has to play angry giant, and Tyson Fury has to like stick and move, and then the fucking bollocks on them to just think, you know what we'll actually do is just try and have a boring match. What were they thinking?
Locking up, headlock,
locking up, like right. Well. How's your drop down tackle? I felt like I was listening to a Steve Austin podcast in 2012. Like, how dare they? Like,
oh mate,
oh my god, unbelievable.
But how sluggy is it though? Because as you're right, why are they doing it? And then there's a point like near the end, isn't it, where Fury literally forgets what he's meant to do. You can hear the ref half television in the corner.
He has to stand in the corner while Braun is like supposed to be selling, but obviously Fury's missed a step, so like he has to wait for Braun to be stood up so he can catch him. But it basically looks like when if one of the kids runs towards me and I just pick him up, that's basically what Fury does to Braun, doesn't he? Whoa, like into his arms kind of thing like that.
And even the finish, like you've got to protect Strowman when he takes the L, but it's a count out, isn't it, off a right hand off Fury. But I mean, listen, it was terrible, but I found it hilarious more than I did the Brock Kane thing. So, yeah.
Did either of you think that the Strowman Express has lost a little something since Bron Breakker's gotten over? Because I was watching it like sort of, he looks more like a giant Luke or Butch bushwhackering around the ring compared to what we're used to with Bron Breakker now.
And also it did, obviously you had to at the time because of his poor knees. God bless Braun. I always love him. Literally can't wait for his new season of Everything on the Menu to watch. I love that show as well. I do like Braun Strowman. I think me and Benno agree on him that like, he was a WWE creation that actually worked, yet he didn't go all the way with him.
They botched him, yeah.
They literally did, Brock.
I think that's Brock's fault. I think Brock, No Mercy 2017, Brock cut his knees off and there was no coming back from that. Roman put him over massive. He won the feud with Roman Reigns. Nobody won feuds with Roman Reigns, and he did. And it was just... I mean, we all know that the best night was Roman wearing those Sports Direct trainers.
No, Michael, no.
With the matching white on the white soles and the little white Spider-Man logo. Get in. That was Roman's. Like, that was his best gear night until the Tribal Chief and the top came off. That was like the all-timer night for Roman Reigns.
But I can't remember what I was going to say now. Anyway, it'll come back to me. But Strowman, the Strowman Express, it literally was about like, because Bron Breakker, no matter who he's there with, he's the intensity. He'll make even people who don't sell. Whereas with Strowman, it was who was literally going to bounce off. Like Ziggler made it look good. Gable,
Owens
made it look amazing.
And he would like flip, wouldn't he, like that?
He must have loved Braun, Owens, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He took some big bumps off him over the years.
I'm going to say when Braun Strowman got released the first time, it just made me think he could have a run on like a Mega Slam or an All Star.
I was there, Andy, at the For Love of Wrestling, and he'd done the Future Shock Battle Royal. He beat Sam Bailey at the end, didn't he? Like, even me and Benno were like, Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman's in this. It's like, should never have got released ever.
Yeah, you imagine the feud between him and Tiny Iron. That would have been a colossal tough, wouldn't it? I would also like to point out, Matty, before we go to the next,
Here we go.
that Tyson Fury's got a better drive-by kick than Roman Reigns.
Is this the negative podcast, lads? Fucking hell.
I tell you what, he has got going for him. He's maybe got better wrestling politics than Roman Reigns, because you see how quick he stood up off that Braun power slam. Like, he was straight up, wasn't he? He was like, you could see Braun, what the fuck are you doing up? I'm supposed to be like, this is like, so Braun gets his heat back, and then Tyson Fury gets his heat back from Braun getting his heat back, and they're just in like a kind of a cycle of it. Like,
I love it for how funny it was, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
But as you say about Brock and Kane, like, who benefited? What was it for? It's this non-canon event, isn't it? Like, literally, it was pointless in a way. So, wild.
I tell you what, as well, this, like, we're having a bit of fun, and I'm with you, I think, as well, about Braun Strowman. I've got more nice memories than shitty ones. The fans give this nothing. Like, this is getting, like that tag match before it as well. Like, it's a theme of this show that I've got in my notes. They don't like much. This is not a hot show. You know, there's hot flashpoints, but it's not a hot show.
You can hear the aircon, can't you?
Yeah.
Well, very prevalent in the next match was the old aircon as AJ Styles took on Humberto Carrillo. And I've got to say, this match, Humberto.
No, do you know what? No, you know, I might be I might be this where I might shock you, lads. I thought this deserved more, though. I thought the fans were to blame for this. I don't think you can put this. Maybe we might disagree. I thought they tried some good stuff here. Never been a Berto guy, really. Especially this run. Don't mind him in the tag team and when he was with Santos and stuff. But I enjoyed some of this work, lads. I might be on my own here, but I thought the fans, like, honestly, was so fucking silent. Like, it was ridiculous, but that might just be me. But I know what you're going to say, Michael, as well. And I was watching it thinking, this wasn't even your 50-50 booking. This was a rematch off Raw, wasn't it? It was that era of, like, seeing these wrestlers fight in, like, 4 times in, like, 2 weeks on every show kind of thing. It was, maybe it had a bit of that, but I thought some of the, like, the handspring Mexican arm drag where he was on the floor, AJ, I'd never seen that before. I would pop that with for that, like.
I've got that specific spot in my notes, right, along with a couple of Humberto's aerials. Like, he does a triple jump moonsault. It's really, really slick as well. As the thing is, right, like, I think I'm somewhere in the middle, because I was watching this thinking there was like all the pyro, no pop, no reaction, like all show, no go, this sort of thing. But AJ Styles, right, like AJ Styles deserves every bunch of flowers he's ever received for his career, every single one of them. But I wouldn't pick daisies out my back garden for half of his WWE stuff. And it doesn't really get talked about enough. Like, a lot of his Fed run is boring shit like this. Like, just stuff happening in front of you, matches that are cold, storylines that are boring. Like, this year alone, he had like turkeys with Ricochet. Like, a couple of years before that, he was having bad matches with Kevin Owens. Like,
Michael, no, that was the one. That was like a 6-month feud that, in people's eyes, that should be one of the greatest feuds of all time. And at the time, I agree with you, even I was like, these aren't good, these. They're not even like decent. Like, genuinely.
There was an AJ Styles level of, I don't want to say phoning it in, because I don't think he was, but I definitely think he was like, hang on, I'm here for like a long money run here where I don't want to get injured. I am levels above so many of the people on this roster that I can half-arse it and it can be decent, you know? Like, and I think a lot of the time it just fell below that. I think, like, I got to be honest, Matty, I tend not to blame crowds. I think it's down to the wrestlers to get, if AJ Styles is everything that people say he is, then he unlocks that extra gear, doesn't he? And he finds the crowd, and he never does. So much of this match is obviously something that they've worked out a couple of the high spots. Like, they've worked together on Raw, so they've probably figured out a couple of things that mesh well together. But at what point, if you're AJ Styles, all-time great, do you not go, this isn't working? I've got like 6 different match formulas in my head. Let's switch to that one. Let's try that one. Let's try that one. And if he is switching different match formulas, none of them are working because the fans don't come up for any of it. And he even looks a little frustrated, doesn't he? When he knows that they've just pulled off a cool high spot sequence and like, nobody gives a shit. You can almost see it on his face. He was like, like what do you want out of us? I'm doing my best flips. Like this kind of, and I don't know. I think there's a lot more of this. If you did a bit of a forensic, sort of like surgical look at AJ's WWE run, I think you'd see more like this than like it's AJ Styles, all-time great. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for me, yeah.
Could you name 5 proper cast iron classics that he had in a 10-year WWE run? Like off the top of your heads now, like
Boneyard matches, yeah.
And think about the context of that.
In ring, you mean in a ring? Then
the first thing you've gone to is like a pandemic sort of production.
John Cena, Rumble Cena one, definitely.
John Cena, I think, like I was kind of blown away by the Cena match in Perth, but like that's a very unique.
Oh, that's
thing.
Its own. The Shane WrestleMania I put up there. I love that.
Yeah.
Shane
hate it.
You not like it, no?
Yeah.
Michael, do you know what I love about you as well? Amongst millions of things, literally millions of things, right? No, genuinely, is that you're not afraid though, mate. You're not a scared man. I love this. Like, you'll take Terry Funk on, but you'll take AJ Styles. I love it. And you mean it. That it's not just for the sake. I love it, lad. But you're right. I've never thought of it like that. It's because it's AJ Styles. I know what you're saying. What is the Brock match? Do you remember the Brock match?
Brilliant. Now the Brock at Survivor Series, I'd include that.
Roman,
that is phenomenal stuff.
Rules, one of the Roman ones.
Yeah. And I tell you what's great about what I would say is great about 2016, less so for individual performances, but more for the sum of its parts. I think what he did in 2016 was that he revealed his value to WWE, because Roman had like his best night that year with AJ Styles. John Cena had great nights with AJ Styles. Dean Ambrose had great nights with AJ Styles. Not all the matches were great, but like on those nights, those men felt like the best versions of themselves against AJ Styles. James Ellsworth, the SmackDown Live era where it was really good telly.
That was good, yeah.
He proper like sort of showed himself to be like a solid all-rounder, but like very few of those matches stack up with AJ Styles' best matches, and very few of the stuff. Once he got his feet under the table, I think he knew the hard work was done. Like I really do think he was like, I've shown them what I've got. Vince doesn't see me as a short guy anymore. He doesn't see me as a pit bull. Vince, he knows my value.
He got over with Vince.
I sell gloves. Like I sell gloves out the arse, so they're happy with that. Like the P1 branding, he figured the important stuff out, and I don't even hold it against him. Do you know what I mean? He earned, like he was getting paid a quarter of that to work twice as hard in TNA. Like he put the shift in. Do you know what I mean? If you balance out AJ's earnings versus his work, they're exactly the same, because he fucking grafted for the money and he just did it on opposite sides, if that makes sense, Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, that match with Edge no, we won't mention that one.
So, moving on to the next bit, we'll just have a quick interview with old brother Hulk Hogan, as he's chatting with nowadays 20-year veteran of the Fed.
Mate, I mean, where do you want to add? What do you say about this? Just
brother.
Yeah, just beautiful Byron, wasn't it? Like just
beautiful Byron, yeah.
Every time my team gets thirsty, I make them drink a glass of sand. Just like, it's not exactly WrestleMania 4 and 5, is it, for Hogan? Like pulling the little Woody from Toy Story, stringing his back and doing a Hogan promo. Like,
Them days are certainly gone here. But the first ever women's match in Saudi with Natalya and Lacey Evans. This was okay for what it was, I would say. They got an holy shit chant for an arm drag.
Well, it's Natalya, isn't it? I mean, the glue, Michael, of the division, or I don't know what you want to call it. But
hated Matty.
I've never liked. I mean, I did. I loved Lacey Evans. I don't know why. It was just one of these. Never seen in NXT much. Was she there long in NXT?
She wasn't there. She wasn't there as long as she needed. Put it like that. She could have done with more seasoning in NXT. But there was I'm with you, Matthew. Like
Yes.
there was something to Lacey Evans, and I think she came in at the wrong time, and I think
100%.
if you look at the quality of the work in patches, I think it'd have been a different story if she'd have come in 5 years later. The music was fantastic as well. Great
the presentation, everything, the gimmick, the presentation,
really great.
The women's right. What a name for a fucking finisher! Unbelievable.
She bought it as well. She like
dove into it. Yeah. Proper.
There was plenty of times where in real life she came across like an arsehole, so it felt that like
That's
character turned up to 11.
Backstage with the push, especially at this point in time with it we're all rosy. You can imagine the daggers were out for it the same, but she was like, I don't give a fuck. It's me who's like, and I like that about it. So yeah.
And then absolutely out of nowhere, she does stuff like in this match where she does that over the top rope drop kick that she did to Natalia, and you're like, motherfucker, you've got some spots here, like the
double jump moonsault, weren't it?
Yeah, the mayor assault, like the
very underrated, lad. Genuinely,
No, I was a bit of a Lacey Evans guy. I mean, this match, Christ Almighty! Like, I've not seen a more pathetic attempt at failed sports washing since Newcastle United finished 12th in the Premier League. Like, just. Like, oh God, like they had friggin' both of them. And like, I remember reviewing this at the time, and it's a really difficult tightrope to walk, right? Because you try not to like slag off the wrestling fans that just want to go to a wrestling show in the place that they live in Riyadh. So you can't really hold it against them. You can't really hold it against Natalia and Lacey Evans, who I'm willing to like feel the emotions that they're feeling, you know? I'm tempted to say you can't hold it against like the likes of Corey Graves and Michael Cole putting on like the crocodile tears, because they've got a boss, and their boss is telling them hammer it that this is hope and this is change, and haven't we done an amazing thing and all that sort of stuff. Like they're talking like it's friggin' 1950 and it's 2019, and it's like, haven't we done an amazing thing here? And then I remember when we first started covering these, and you had to like, the year before was when Jamal Khashoggi was killed. I don't want to make a fun podcast too heavy or anything. And it was impossible. It was impossible to like walk a line. You either do a wrestling podcast and you talk about the wrestling, or you do an all-around podcast and you talk about the cloud that has to hang over every single one of these shows. And I look at this and I just like, I mean, this was the start of something else, wasn't it? Because the more that they can pretend that they're creating change and they're creating a better world, the more this deal looks like it's for something else. We know what it's for. We know what this is for. We know all of this existed to make Saudi Arabia a tourism country rather than an oil country. And it was let's repair some reputational damage, and let's not talk about human rights violations and abuse and all of these awful things and all of it. Like, and then you get a match like this, which is just a match. It's some nice moves. It's just a match. It's two women in bodysuits and t-shirts, and they still are. I know they get like awesome gear and stuff now, but again, the mere fact I'm saying awesome gear shows you how it's all been normalized, isn't it? At least when you're watching this, you're like, Christ, what the fuck is going on here? And it's like, you can't place blame anywhere. And because it's too difficult, you just sort of give up. And you're just like, well, that's it. I'll just watch 2 of these shows every year. Like I'll just, CM Punk will go to Saudi Arabia, and the Royal Rumble will happen in Saudi Arabia, and WrestleMania will happen in Saudi Arabia. And as I say, like, I'm sounding biased because I'm a Sunderland fan, but like it will make its way into the Premier League, and it will make its way here, and it will make its way there, and it was whoever came up with it,
boxing, UFC, everywhere.
But whoever came up with it was a genius, because it has. There can be no debate that this has worked. They could have tried a million other things. Sports and entertainment has been the answer. Like, and this was it's funny. The more they tried to steer into what a great thing they were doing and how they wanted a slap on the back, the more you were kind of reminded of the politics and the socioeconomics of it and all of that. And I felt a little bit sorry for the girls in the crowd that clearly got something out of this, like, and to a lesser extent, Natalia and Lacey Evans, because Natalia in particular, I feel like she was told, smile. Like there was points in the match where they were wrestling and she had this like massive smile on her face. And that felt like there had to be an instruction. You cannot smile enough at what an incredible day. She got bottled on the way to the ring. Do you see how they clipped that from the Netflix version? I remember this at the time. Like, people were hoying the rubber shatter and stuff. This was not, this wasn't what they were telling you it was. But Lacey Evans was pretty good. I agree, Matty. Sorry, I went off on a thing there. But like, that's what happens with these Saudi shows. You get yourself tied in knots over it every single time.
Yeah, definitely. But did Natalia win? She won, didn't she, with the sharp?
Yeah, Natalia won.
Well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
sharpshooter, discus lariat. I went a star and a half on that. I thought it was fine. One of the better matches on the show. Next one was match number 7, which was Team Hogan versus Team Flair, because you had to have the name there to actually make this match look any good. It's literally 2019's mid card in a nutshell. So on
the burial continues here, lads. What's going on?
We'll give some here, Matty. Don't worry. So Team Hogan is Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, Rusev, Shorty G.
Wow.
And the one main star in this, even though he looks a bit washed, Roman Reigns, versus Team Flair of Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, Baza Corbin, Randy Orton, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Where do you want to start here, Michael? We've got to start with Shorty G. I mean, one of the worst gimmicks of all time. Like, the presentation, the music, what the fuck was it? Like, genuinely, what the fucking hell was this? It was embarrassing.
The G on his children's basketball outfit was a ruler. Like, think about that. Like,
fucking hell.
Absolutely. Andy nailed this from the jump. Like, what a collection of fucking dorks and losers. Like, how on earth? Bear in mind, by the way, this is a month before the Survivor Series, so you're doing like a 5-on-5 a month before a show that is predicated on 5-on-5s, and you are just presenting allegedly 5 of your top guys. You know, one of them's got the Intercontinental title. A couple of them are involved in, like, you know, reasonably big programs on television. And it's just like, I was watching this, I was being like, yeah, this is why AEW happened. This is how arrogant you got with your monopoly. This is how pathetic you got at being able to create stars. This is how, Christ, the wrestlers that you thought, like, at this time, at one point or another, I might have thought, I can't believe they're squandering Ricochet. And then he comes out dressed like that, and I want to fire him on the spot.
How bad is it, that outfit? Like, genuinely?
So it's like, you know, like, Bobby Lashley, who, you know, by all accounts liked, but definitely preferred Vincent Mann's creative to Triple H's, put it like that. But, like, he's involved in this storyline that's like, it's doomed from the off, and everybody knows that, you know. Rusev, he's out there taking the piss, because what else can he do? He's got his own Hulk Hogan customized gear made, and he just wants to have a laugh.
Though, doesn't he? He looks awful.
But look at his face. At least, like, he's, you know what, I'm going to try and have a good night here, because most of my nights are shit. So I'm going to try and have a good night. Like that. Man. Like, I don't want to. Andy's got a match to recap here, and we've already gone in 2-footed on this entire thing. There's a
I'm
bit
not
toward
to recap here, mate. I put Rusev looks like Bill Eadie on the way out of the company, doesn't he?
Mate, he changed his look every week around this period of time.
Mm-hmm.
What was he turning up in? Like what animation show T-shirt was he wearing? He was just wearing all mad.
He had like Mickey Mouse ones, and like sometimes he'd have the beard on, and he'd have the tash sometimes as well. It was a bit of both, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, awful. Yeah.
Aye. Shorty G still having the American Alpha music, just a flashback to a different time, wasn't it? Like
but also
Shorty G.
The only Shorty G's on the
list. He did that like pose, didn't he? It's like, here's my Shorty G thing. Like I don't know.
But the only good thing in this match, though, lads, is the two stars in here. That is Spear turned into the RKO, gets the biggest pop of the night, lads. It generally does, doesn't it? And he kicks out the RKO, which is wild. So
I saw Roman coming out, right, looking like a 14-year-old going to his first school disco, and I was ready to, like, I was really excited to be like, let's me and Matty have a fight over Roman Reigns. And then, like, him tagging in got the only pop of the match, and I was like, oh no, they actually see him as a star. Like, thank God there's actually a star out of these 10 that the fans give a shit about. Like, this got nothing. Like, 10 of them, supposed to be the biggest 10 you've got. It was pathetic stuff. That sequence when they do the replay, and like Roman posing, you know, like Roman must pose on the ropes, doing all that. Pyro, and then like all the rest of the team are made to go and stand on the aisle, like yeah, Roman.
The way Chubby always that.
You know, when Rusev puts his head in the middle of Hogan, that could have been you, Matty, going Roman. it was just funny, wasn't it? It was like I remember at this point Roman was back to getting the mixed reactions again, and he got a mixed reaction at WrestleMania 35, and he'd only been back a month, and I was like, "You're joking me? Like, this man has come back, like he's beaten leukemia for the second time in his life. This is amazing. Like, how is he not the biggest babyface ever off the back of this?" And it was just, well, no, because he'd been pushed like that for 5 years. The fans were never gonna. Never ever gonna like see him as anything more than a guy that was just a project. And like, I don't think Roman was anything special here. But then, what was the motivation to be special? Like, what's the? He like
the dive and the RKO. He does the good spot.
The dive.
But I can't. Apart from that, and that's not biased even. That's just literally what happened, as we all agreed. But you're right. It was like that Nakamura heel run with the IC belt. Does anyone remember that? The Rusev and Lashley feud you're saying there. Ali getting pushed every now and again, Shorty G, King Corbin, for as much as I like Corbin, ironically, maybe at times, like, that was a bad choice for the gimmick. It was just the mesh of that music as well. He had one of the greatest themes of all time for the end of the days, and then like they mashed the King music, shit, you know what I mean? And it looked cheap, the outfit, didn't it? And that's what I noticed, Michael, for such, me and you agree, especially yourself, you're bigger on it than me, of like, for the production values, for the market leader, as you say, everything looked tacky, didn't it? All the outfits looked tacky. That King and the scepter, it just looked phony. It was just a bad time, mate. It really was.
Wrestlers like buy their own clobber, don't they? And you'd have to think like, what they must have been like, just not asked about spending big when they knew that on any given week your push could be flushed down the toilet. Like, imagine spending loads of money on your stuff and then he just, you're not the king anymore. What do you mean? I've just spent $3,000 on a crowd. Yeah, I'll change my mind. Like, it's sort of. You can sort of understand it almost, can't you? Like, right, you can see why Randy Orton didn't buy a new pair of kegs for about like 20 years. Like, he's like, think I'll go with blue. Like, and that was the extent of how much he put in any effort most of the time.
A cut-off hoodie, a sleeveless hoodie. He used to wear that. Was his like, new fucking hell. And he grew his hair back out to like a normal haircut, didn't he?
That, like, you know, and I can understand that Nakamura theme where like they cut off the sing along bit in order they had that band do the remix so that people would stop singing along with him, as like, because people just wanted to like him. It was like, no, you're a heel, so we're going to get him some new music made. So you stop cheering him. It's just dictating to your audience what they're supposed to do, as opposed to just letting them enjoy the show.
Always say as well, and like especially like I'm enjoying one of the bright sparks at the minute, Michael, and hopefully they do pull the trigger on it. Is this Sami Zayn like slow turn? Well, he basically turned, hasn't he? But that's good. But I think I always blew Benno's mind with it that like in WWE he's been a heel longer than he was a babyface. Like. And he was a manager of Nakamura. It's fucked up.
He managed it. He got the Sami Zayn timeline is that like basically doing a funny dance to Nakamura is like the first point at which things turn back around for Sami Zayn. Like he's got so mad. Like like there's a few little checkpoints where if he didn't just go like balls deep into some stupid creative, he'd have probably been like out on his ass. But he would find a way, you know. Like he ended up, like I think he ended up sort of like taking the Intercontinental title spot and becoming a champion himself, didn't he? Like feuding with Bryan in early 2020.
That's a WrestleMania match that happened for the IC belt. Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan.
WrestleMania 36, wasn't it? Like, and they go back to him and Owens at 37, and he's so like disconsolate, and he thinks the world's against him that he goes to Roman Reigns. Like,
but Johnny Knoxville's the one that got him winning it.
Sorry, yeah, because he's in the conspiracy theory before that, isn't he? And like he thinks the world's turned on him, and he wants to make the documentary, and that brings the Jackass Boys in, and like it's all. Sammy is one of those guys where you can actually tether like one thing to another, just because he always made so much effort to try and make his shit make sense.
Definitely.
So yeah, very much a paint by numbers match. And my last comment on it, it's amazing to see what Roman Reigns becomes like a year later. Fucking different folk. Once he takes that vest off, Greek God.
But even just everything about it, and that once again, like everyone, you know, knows my fandom. That's why I love him even more so. Keep saying it. It's like and listen, it took a pandemic for it to happen, don't get me wrong, but at least when he come back, he weren't a yes man or he weren't this. He was like, no, if I'm coming back, I'm doing things my way here. Like that Cena never done, do you know what I mean? That Cody will never do at the same time, not to just bash.
Already did it, didn't he, Cody? He's already done it twice, so like he doesn't need to do it again now.
But it's like, no, I'm doing things my way. And he reaped the rewards, and so did the company. So, yeah, love it.
I love that Roman came back when he did, and it was specifically on the man we're about to get to next, and Braun Strowman, because it was like those it felt real, didn't it? It was like, it was as if he was saying, Vince, this company's a joke. These characters are a joke. Like I can't exist with these pieces of shit.
And
like
they went to Jay, where they go after that.
Yeah, like out of the way right now. I'm not doing this. You know, like and I love that about that return. Like it's when he doesn't even turn heel, he just looks angry that they even like, what the fuck have you been doing while I've been away? Definitely. Like it's like me getting back, and like I say, the kids have made a mess at home or something. Like, right, Dad's back. Like it was that changed him. It's like, but again, he's not doing it here, is he? Like he's in Team Hogan going at the end, and he's just like clean your shit up, Roman. Like, come on, like sort this out. If you're really that guy, sort this out, and he did.
So we go on to the main event, which is for the heavyweight title, which is Seth Rollins versus The Fiend in like a no DQ match.
Yeah.
Oh God, this! I know we mentioned like the aircon noise. This was aircon with a bit of red lighting. Fucking hell, this stunk.
This is a tough. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Overall, yeah, I can't dispute that. But and that's where it ties into me with The Fiend, of like how they backed themselves into this, coming off that Hell in a Cell where he had to win. So they kind of do the same story where Seth's putting like stomp on the fucking concrete, isn't he? He basically gets blew up at the end, legitimately.
Yeah.
And listen, from that point of view, I might be the only high man on this. If you're laying it out like that, then it works. But it's everything that comes with it. As you say, it's the lack of reaction. It's you backing yourself, what you do after this. What can you do with this character after this? You literally blew him up. The last pay-per-view, you killed him. You can't go elsewhere with it. So you can't... It's basically... And I think I not like The Fiend, but I've got a bit more time for him. I love like shit horror movies, Michael. I'm like a BC horror movies buff. Like I'll watch anything. And I'm a big fan. This way I might get cash dated. You might hate me, sorry. Or go down in your estimation. Like when it's the pandemic... And it's some of the Orton and him stuff, bollocks it is, don't get me wrong. But there's some of it that looks cool, like that fucking Inferno match they have. When he RKOs him, when he sets on fire, that's a fucking cool visual to me, who like shit. Like, I love fire in horror films, you know, I love Maniac Cop 3, you know what I mean? Not just number one, I love the third one where he's driving the car, set on fire. I love visuals like that, that's just in me. I can't, like, argue with that for myself, but other than that, it's a load of bollocks, but I don't know, I'm trying to give it some sort of thing here, guys, but I'll just let you shit all over it like it deserves, probably. Go for it.
But the thing is, right, I would imagine, these films that you're speaking of, right, I would imagine that even when they were made on a low budget or with very few, you know, limitations or whatever, I bet they had like rules. I bet they had a guy. I bet that they established rules within that universe in the first 10 minutes, and then for the next hour and a half, you just accept it. Like, that's the point, right? Is there anything's fine. Anything is fine as long as you tell me what the rules are and I'll observe them, right? I'm not going to watch, like, if I'm watching The Wire and then, like, there's a polar bear walking around Baltimore like there was in Lost, like, then The Wire's fucked, isn't it? But if I'm watching Lost and the island is not what it seems and there's a polar bear on it, then fine, because the island is not what it seems. Those are the rules you've told me, and I'll go along with that. You know, that was my problem with The Fiend. It's like, what the fuck's The Fiend? Like, The Fiend comes out, right? Seth says he's going fiend hunting. They've had to stop a Hell in a Cell.
That's a bad line.
Because he's put a chair on his head, he's put a toolbox on his head, and he smashed the toolbox and the chair with a hammer onto his head. And the referee's been like, enough, you're killing him. And then the Fiend like just gets up, right? What's The Fiend? So like they're making a big deal about like that's his 8th stomp. Well, I'm sorry, like you could do 8 or 800. What's the rules? What's the rules of The Fiend? Like why should 8 be better than 7, be better than 6, be better than 5 if a toolbox and a steel chair and a hammer isn't enough? Like this is no DQ, no count out, no nothing. Right, the thing they put on the graphic is it cannot be stopped for any reason because they've got to make up for the fact that Hell in a Cell was just a shit show, right? The Fiend, I don't know if you're aware of this, guys, is a fiend, and then the bell rings and he goes for an Irish whip. What the fuck are the rules? Like, what is...
They don't know, do they? That's
not a clue.
It's listen, and that's what I mean. It's like this such a, you know, visually looking character, as you say, looks great and all that, but he's still got to wrestle, like you're saying. He's still got to do this shit, or as you say, Michael, what is it? Like, it's
like
it's even the split personality. Sorry, it's Bray. He's called the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas we see Bray Wyatt in the red jumper, so as he just put a mask on, is this not him? But his name's Bray Wyatt. It's fucked, isn't it? It is.
they haven't got a clue. He teleports, he does like the magic shit, and then again, you're watching like the human being, Wyndham Rotunda, step between the ropes. So, whoa, Fiend. Like, so now you know, if you were ever being chased by the Fiend, well, just get in a ring because he has to take a few seconds to get in it as well. Yeah. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's like, what are any of the rules? When Seth Rollins got dragged in the build-up and he got dragged under the ring, right? What the fuck's the Fiend? Like, is he under there, like, making you vomit black blood, or is he just putting you in a front face lock and you can get out of it? Like, what's actually going on under that ring? Like, again, I rarely defend this man, and I've already put over one of his matches on this podcast. In the 90s, The Undertaker had rules. You know, like, it wasn't just any old horror movie shit you could think of. There were certain rules about The Undertaker. People shit on the Royal Rumble 1994, right? But the urn had magical powers. That was a rule, right? So when that green smoke escapes, I'll buy that. I'll be like, hang on, Paul Bearer used to hold that up and it helped The Undertaker sit up. And now whatever's magic about that is no longer magic. The Undertaker can't sit up. That's not a difficult concept to grasp, is it? When you're like 9-10 years old, it's like, well, all right, that's fine. I've been told this all my life. And now that thing they've targeted the urn, so The Undertaker's fucked. And there's 10 of them. You know, like that's all I need. Like, there could have been 10 guys here, but then last month, the Fiend kicked out from a sledgehammer toolbox steel chair to the head. So what does it matter if there's 10 guys, 100 guys, or 100 stomps, or getting blown up? As was the case. Like, none of it at any point matters because there are no rules to the Fiend. 24 hours before this pay-per-view, NXT had the episode where Finn Balor had turned heel on Johnny Gargano, and he'd explained why he turned heel. And it was his first appearance since the Fiend beat him at SummerSlam. And I wrote this down for this review because I'd remember this promo. And he said, funny how things change in the business. 2 months ago, I'm laying down for what's supposed to be the hottest new thing in the business just because he put on a new mask. Well, I took my new mask off and now I'm the hottest thing in the business. So on NXT in-house, because Hell in a Cell's been such a shit show, they're burying it. Anyway, it's a joke. It is a complete joke. And then 24 hours later, they're trying to like, can you forget about that, please? They're trying to like Men in Black, like memory zap you and have him be the scary. It's the exact same shit with Daniel Bryan. People talk about that match at the Royal Rumble being good. They're lying. It's overrated. It's like good because it's not complete shit like this. It's not good. It's just like, it's barely passable.
But also, like, Michael, do you think as well, like, this way it was so polarized and this way Seth gets like two-footed? Because this was my take on it as well. You're right in everything that you said. But I was made up when he won because I didn't like Seth that much as this. Yeah. Genuinely, that like all this shit you've just said, which is absolutely correct. I didn't care because I didn't want Seth because he was like, and don't look at Randy Orton. Even like I'm not sticking up for him, but he was never like he was scared of the Fiend, of course. If you're meant to be, but he never like ran away or coward. He was just like, oh my god, Seth was actually. Do you remember that Raw where he was like that on the like? And he went along with it. He was like proper shitting himself.
Just
like,
does what he's told, doesn't he?
That's
does
bad,
what he's
like
told.
Bad, really bad visual. That like, but yeah, it's.
Do you remember? Do you remember how like you would get like the Fiend Reddit posts where it was like, so he beats Finn Balor. I never read them,
Michael. Then books only.
Oh my god! Like he beats Finn Balor and Finn Balor turns heel, and he beats Seth Rollins and Seth Rollins after the Survivor Series turns heel. And it was the whole, the whole point was like the Fiend changes people, and like he'd attacked people on Raw with the mandible claw and stuff like that.
Changed them back.
That's the power of the Fiend, and it's like I don't know. I reckon like you could have just. I think the NWO could have done the same thing. Like I think, but at least like, shite, proper cast iron shite. The Fiend. There was no. This didn't exist until like this is the Lucha Underground character, and you couldn't give a Lucha Underground character to 2019 WWE. You just couldn't.
Yeah.
I went -3 on this match. Fucking absolute toilet. Absolute toilet. And I think it just put the tin hat on a thoroughly depressing pay-per-view. And I know we'll get into now. So 2019 overall and this show, Matty, shite or not shite?
Well, it's shite, isn't it? There's no other, you know, there shouldn't be another choice, really, Andy, for a podcast that we do. There should be another option, mate. It is shite. And like Michael said there, like, it was a really bad time, but I did go into this with, like, I hadn't watched it, like Michael said, since the time. I was trying to be as positive as I could. And listen, I took the Dirty Dogs. I enjoyed the work in AJ and Humberto more than you guys. And, you know, some spots in that 10-man, and even trying, not defending the Fiend, but seeing, until Michael explained it there, you know, seeing...
Sorry.
No, it's all right, seeing some... No, it's right, though, seeing some aspect of it, and... But yeah, it's shite, like, it is. Everything else about it, it's just... It's awful, yeah. It's really bad, and I think that main event as well comes with everything, like Michael said, like you said, Andy, in the build-up. Seth as well doesn't help things, as I said before, not just the Fiend, Seth didn't help nobody. It was just a big pot of fucking shite. Yeah, there's no other answer. Yeah, there isn't, guys. Yeah, genuinely isn't. And someone who's trying to be looking for positives in this, no, it doesn't work.
Has the therapy worked, Michael?
Yeah, it has. I was with Matty, actually. I kind of, you leave it alone long enough. Any wrestling, you leave it alone long enough, and you go back. It's like you open a door, and it's quite like, my memory's pretty good for WWE, but this specific period is where it's the absolute worst, because again, there was just too much to process. Like, we would review this every week, so a lot of it was like, because you were getting encouraged to, like, let it go in one ear and out the other, my brain wasn't as good at, like, compartmentalizing it as much as, like, it used to be, you know, every other year before that. So I don't like watching these shows, but I like being surprised by them. I try to avoid, like, going along on the Netflix thing so I don't get anything spoiled, and I won't look at the Wikipedia page. I really do want to be like, oh, who's up next then? What was this again? And it just triggers. I like that feeling. And I've avoided this era because it just it would make me sad. It would make me sad, like, what the hell is the thing I love the most become? And it's nice that we're enough removed from it now that I can, like, even if it just means, like, having a bit of a pop at it on a podcast with you guys, it's like that. It's, for the first time in its life, it's provided me with some value, because it didn't back then. So it might as well now, you know?
It makes you appreciate what you do end up with in Triple H's, like, first year and a half in his book.
The boom.
When he was the next boom.
The shoot boom, yeah. It's I cannot to this day. Me and Sidge have had arguments on camera about it, where I was just like, can we not throw around the word slop, because this was fucking slop. This was slop on top of slop on top of slop. And what you're watching now in WWE is just like a post-boom product. Just WWE falling off. That's all it is. It's just a wrestling show. Do you know how to get us, though,
Michael? Do you know how to get us with words? Do you do? Do you definitely?
Well, yeah, but because they picked a more boring product to enjoy with their lives. But, like, you know, like it's like it's not, it's the advertising stuff is it's like it's corporate shit. That is, but like the week to week booking, the plotting that's a bit boring, the character work that's gone a bit dry, and the promos that have gone a bit sour. It's like, it makes sense. It's a wrestling show that's nowhere near as effective as it was, but at least the characters exist in the real world. This is shit. This is absolutely unforgivable slop. Like, they are not comparable. 2026 is the worst WWE has been since 2021, and you cannot compare the two shows. You simply can't.
Yeah, but like you, Michael. Sorry, Andy. It's like you're saying at the time as well. You said before, like, trying to, like, I couldn't remember some of the build up and stuff like that. If, like, you wrote a spreadsheet down of, like, every Raw from, like, 2003 even, right? I mightn't get everyone in order, but I could probably tell you the main event of every Raw, like match. I could fill it in on a spreadsheet and go, you know, like that Sporkle game you used to do in the internet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I could do it. I reckon I could do well. I'd get like 47 quick, and I'd go, oh, I'll have to think about these last 5. 2019, I'd be throwing names out in an act, like, I'd be saying, like, oh, I'd just say, oh, Seth versus. I'd be literally guessing. I wouldn't be able to remember it, because they're just that, as you say, unmemorable in a way. And it's something like, as you say, where it's shit on like 23 years ago, but I can still remember that, whereas that's so close. But as you say, it's just unforgettable, isn't it? It's just content for content's sake in a way that didn't make sense. There's
no stars.
There's nothing.
You remember stars and stories, and there's no stars and there's no stories.
No. Crazy, mate.
I think I'm the full house as well. Even though it's nice to, like Michael said, look back at these and see what was actually happening at the time, because you do sort of forget, and you can watch with fresh eyes. This was a thoroughly depressing watch. That 10 man with Team Hogan and Team Flair, that's just like, fuck me, there's some rough. There's no stars in this match, and even like Roman, I know you'll stick up for him. Even then, in that match,
he's not a bigger star then, like even a 10th compared to now. You know what I mean, or what he become.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. At the same time, so it's everything about it, mate.
It's like it's a zombie promotion that just happens to be too rich to fail, isn't it?
100%, Michael.
Like at this point, there's not a shred of life behind the eyes of anybody, but there's too much money flowing through it that nobody can do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go, and just get to the plugs now, Matty.
Oh, why come to me, Andy? You know, I'm shite at this. Fucking hell, I'm always literally the name of this podcast. That's what I am at, chilling and promoting. But yeah, I'll try and make sense of this. I'm not a professional like yourself, Michael, or yourself, Andy, when it comes to this. But yeah, the part of GRAPPL, of course, you can catch us at patreon.com/GRAPPL, where we do retro shows. There's different shows. There's a monthly show about Bret the Hitman Hart that I never plug enough with myself and Gareth. There's a new show called Stone Cold Crazy as well that me and Gareth have started. Just getting into our groove with that, I think, after 3 episodes. Really enjoyed the last one recording that, lad. So want to throw that out there. We got all the stuff as well with the current wrestling with Benno, JP, filling in there, doing the spotlights and weekend shows. So yeah. Just and our Discord, don't know not a keying on this front, Andy, but join the GRAPPL Discord because there's a lot of good conversation about wrestling and non-wrestling stuff as well. It's a good place to have a chat now that Twitter's one of the worst things in existence, Michael. I'm sure you'll agree on that.
And also youtube.com/@GRAPPL.
That's why you're here defending me, Andy. Thank you very much, mate. Become a YouTube member, which is growing ever so slowly, but any support is grateful across any of that. So thank you.
Brilliant stuff, Matty. Michael.
I mean, I can't follow that, and Matty says he's not even a professional. Do you know what I mean? That was unbelievable. I mean, first of all, I'll echo his sentiments about the GRAPPL Discord. I've binned off Twitter, and it's just a nice place to go and talk about wrestling. But then I dare say the people listening to this podcast might already be in there because there's so many good eggs overlapping between the podcasts. It's lovely.
Definitely.
What Culture Wrestling. If you're not completely tired of me talking Fed on this podcast, I do it every single day. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, cover Dynamite because I have to. We do previews, reviews, pay-per-views, premium live events, all that sort of stuff. Myself and my colleague Michael Sidgwick do they debate various Q&As, have Dilemma-Linas where we'll go back and forth on one versus another issues. And I also do, if you're into your nostalgia stuff, Benno and Hamflett In Your House. It's a podcast reviewing all the In Your Houses and all the stuff going on in between the In Your Houses. We're now up to 1997 in the timeline, but the archive, of course, goes all the way back up to 1995, and it'll be going to 1999. We got a long way to go yet before we kind of have to change directions or anything like that. We're really proud of the archive we're building of those podcasts as a nice little time capsule of this particular period of time. The housekeepings are getting bigger than the pay-per-views, unfortunately, because the television is so densely packed with stuff at the moment. But yeah, I'm not on socials anywhere, but you can find me chatting shit about the business enough across What Culture.
Listen, gotta say as well, obviously the What Culture stuff, Michael, where it discovered yourself and such. Love you and Sid and Wilborn being the host, but you and Sid, giving dissecting the shows down. Of course, I love that. But this Benno and Hamflett, mate, seriously, I'm not just saying it. Like it's your show. Benno's there as well. Don't get me wrong. He's but no, genuinely, like he's great as well. But that first season was brilliant. But I always said, I think I said to you before you finished that, I cannot wait for season 2, and it's just, as you say, for me, you could go as many hours, and it's the way you break it down, everything that needs to at this point now. Can't speak highly enough of it. Like I'm still, but I mean, it just means I'm a bit behind because they're longer. But honestly, like, could listen to you and Benno all day long dissect this stuff, and genuinely one of the best, mate. Genuinely.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll chuck in another plug because you've both done episodes with us in the past. Andy Ogden, we had you on for the Final Four one, which is well worth going back and listen to. Matty, we got you on for triple feather it was, and then yourself and Gareth on for the Canadian Stampede as well. These are all on YouTube as well as wherever you get your podcast. No, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. That's labour of love stuff. You talk about remembering things from episodes. It's like, it's been lovely to be like, right, where are we at? December 1997. I need to go and check that because I don't think I've imagined that segment. And then you find that, and you're like, there's so much that like probably people get bored of. But in my head, it's like, well, no, you need that detail because that feeds into that bit, and that feeds into that bit because it was.
And I think it's come round. Listen, we're all in the same bubble, aren't we? We're all in the same fandom. We're all similar in a way, you know what I mean? I grew up same ages and all that. And I think it should be the other way. I've thought it for years that, like, listen, of course, there's people out there who can't stand the Attitude Era. How many times can you talk about it, etc. But the way you guys are, you know, people just think of it of like certain angles or matches. You're breaking the week to week with an older head, like you do week to week now, but you're doing it for back then. It's time to be doing that and dissecting it and giving it a fresh life, you know what I mean? That's why I love it, mate. Genuinely. Brilliant.
And I also like to echo them sentiments as well. I always listen to What Culture and Benno and Hamflett, and I can't wait for your review of the boot camp match between Sergeant Saul.
Can't wait.
Oh, Christ.
One of my favourites from back in the day.
Is that going to be the first pay-per-view that I review on Benno and Hamflett and on Shite? Is that like going to be...
Andy, but you're like me there. As a kid, how good was Triple H v Slaughter? It was fucking blew your mind as a kid.
I'll be watching it in the next few days, and I'm going in proper like, right, maybe this will be the time. Like, I'm willing, because I'm so in the bubble of that era at the moment, I'm trying to go in and think, I'm going to try and proper like go in fresh as a daisy and think, can I love this match that I think is an absolute stinker? I want to find the good in it, because I've quite enjoyed reliving the build. It's like it is just every week I'm going to shag your wife. Like, my dick is massive and I'm going to shag your wife. That's the Triple H Sergeant Slaughter story. But like it's like big Bobo being like 40 or whatever he was is so funny as well. Like,
have you done the? Sorry to keep you, but have you done the TV for that, Michael? Because all I remember from that is one of the greatest visuals of all time on the Go Home show, where Slaughter's tied up in the ropes. He's grabbed China.
Yeah.
Shamrock's got Michaels in the ankle lock. Slaughter's got Triple H in the Cobra Clutch, and Jim Neidhart's got China grabbed against the thing. What a visual that is, and they're all tapping and what a fucking go home. That's
either been released or it's in the can. It's going to come out, and it's one of the only times in that entire like first 3 months where anybody got a lick of heat on DX as well.
Yeah.
So they've like Sean and Hunter have like finally relented and been like, right, fine, somebody can get one over on us, but they make it count. You know, they kind of considering
with the headband.
We haven't had that yet, but I can't wait to get to that. Fuck, Shawn Michaels ringing the bell live on Monday Night Raw, ding ding, like down there in his boxes. Iconic.
So you can follow me at GCP Podcast on X, and go and listen back to all our back catalogue of Shite, Reslow, currently doing Satellite Wrestling on Screen Sport, which is very much Mark Rollerball Rocco heavy.
Brilliant. I've loved those so far, by the way. Mark Rocco's Tash, brilliant.
Yeah. It's very much American wrestling for the Brits, I would definitely say. And also go and listen to the other podcast I'm on, Nothing Can Like It, FWA Pod. Matty, your phone's next to the...
sorry, fella.
Phone.
Sorry.
It's all right, mate. Don't worry.
That's the private Roman Reigns Discord server he's in. Like, there's been a bat signal sent out that's the shape of the old Roman Reigns Spider-Man logo. Is somebody criticising the big dog? Like, they're running in with like posts and hot takes about the big dog.
I've sent them the link, lads. Don't worry, you know what I mean.
They're all charging their wrists up as we speak. They're all like.
Go and listen to the other podcast on Nothing Can Like It, which recently we've had Ben Corrigan on helping us review British Uprising 3. We've released an interview with Dirt Feel Good, who
I listened to that with Davey.
Well, also that Dirt tells me, lovely fella, really good fella.
Genuinely, like, what a guy, what a sweetheart. But the stories he told on that were great. That, like, someone who like knew his limitations as well, Andy, weren't it, and didn't see himself as that and played his role and loved it. Like, what a guy, what an interview, really good.
And we've got hopefully many more to come on that show. But as ever, thanks for your time, Michael.
Yeah, of course, Mike.
Thank
honestly.
you. Thank you so much. But honestly, I love this podcast as well. You've got a fantastic thing here. I'd gladly cut, despite this show, I'd gladly come on again anytime you'd have me. Brilliant. This.
Well, we'll see you back at Christmas for 2009.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's my worst year in WWE history, Michael. Off memory.
I retract my offer.
Cheers as ever, Matty.
Oh, Andy, fucking hell, mate. Of course, you don't need to thank me at this point, mate. Always a great time had as well on this podcast. Brilliant, mate. Love it.
And we'll see you back next time for episode 4, where me and Matty will be covering the MJF versus Adam Cole feud leading to Wembley. Thank you very much. And good night.
Ta-da.